Hey everyone, we'll get started in just a minute. AR, want to talk a bit so I can check levels here?
Okay, how's it going, everybody? I feel like it's been forever since we talked last.
Yeah, it's been a bit. Okay, talk a little bit more.
Okay, I'm still talking, staring at the Christmas tree directly in front of the microphone.
Okay,
That's weird to stare at.
it looks like the levels are about even, but we'll let them confirm for us. Last time we were in such a rush to actually get started due to issues, you were significantly lower, and I didn't realize it until we were done.
I hope you caught that already.
Yeah, we look like we're about even, but I will let them confirm, since sometimes the meter does not seem to match the actual what they're hearing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll wait for them to comment on if they feel like they can hear us both about evenly.
Yeah, there's the 20-second delay is weird because they may have already left a million comments already and we won't see it.
Yeah. We're talking to you from the past. Okay, we sound gear. I'm going to assume that means great.
I think it means sounds gear. I think that just means like we sound like a bunch of
Yeah.
grating gears, and that's
Okay,
just
let's go ahead and get our 30 seconds starting now. Okay, that should be good. You ready to go?
yep.
Yeah. And for a few people who haven't listened in the past, the reason we do that is it lets us make a filter for the recorded version after the fact.
I was expecting a pizza oven. I was expecting the oven to go off for pizza.
Okay. Uh, Welcome to the Thrill Podcast. We're here to entertain and inform while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark. I run with the Will.
And I'm AR Pulver, Digimon System Restore.
And this time, AR's internet is fine. My city isn't on fire. And everything seems to be going well.
This is, yeah, so now I expect a cat to jump on my keyboard and just wreck everything.
Yeah, that was fun because I remember messaging you about that and you had no clue what I was talking about, and then you checked.
Oh no, that's not the first time that's happened.
Yeah. Better was people like freaking out in the chat room trying to figure out what was going on with you. And it's like something's going on with the keyboard. Everyone calm down. And then
I
I booted you out.
just possessed by Parasimon, no big
Yeah.
deal.
Wow, we have a lot of stuff to talk about, don't we?
Nah.
Yeah. And May is off. Well, at the moment, she'd probably be at work, off preparing for her trip to Japan,
Yeah.
where she will be doing many Digimon things, and we will be bothering her about many Digimon things.
Is it many Digimon things, or is it just the escape room and hopefully picking up a copy of E-Jump?
Well, she claims that it's not going to be much, but I think there's going to be quite a bit. So we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
let's
think
go.
a trip to Japan can be more than just Digimon.
I haven't seen much evidence of that.
Hmm.
Shall we get on to the tidal wave of stuff that's been thrown at us since the last time we did an episode?
Sure.
A
lot of this starts out with we kick off with the Digital Monster
yeah.
updates.
Let's go ahead and talk about that. I mean, pre-orders are closed. They showed us a bunch more profiles, which they sort of they do small ones on Twitter, then more detailed ones. They showed us a preview of the booklet. I still think Terriermon Joshu was the most hilarious thing to come up with to do all this.
Yeah, Terriermon Joshu was a great choice.
Yeah.
I'm so happy every time he pops up on my dash.
Yeah. I mean, pre-orders are closed. Is there much for us to talk about for this? I mean, a lot of these Digimon, we even had the information for them before.
I'm just still shocked how much is in this thing.
Yeah, it's kind of...
It's not necessarily news, but...
Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of fun stuff.
Yeah.
It really looks interesting. But more than that, it's actually new. It's not, remastered. It's not...
Yeah, there's a lot of new... The new X designs alone are pretty impressive.
Yeah, a wide range of art styles also.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of makes it even more interesting, I think.
Some of them aren't quite as pointy as others.
Hooray. See, sometimes there's issues I'm fixing in the background that you can't tell, and one of them I just fixed.
I could tell that one.
I was only getting audio from one ear. And I'm sitting there trying to adjust the microphone and everything without actually unplugging speakers or anything like that. So let's move on from the Digital Monster X, which I still have to say I like how they reused the original shell and just colored them really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just the design really I know some people are upset that they're not making a new shell, but that just works for me really well.
Sure.
And still more VPETs. This was actually sent to me by someone, not tagged as a breakdown. They just wanted me to have it. So I went ahead and, scanned, did photos, and put in too much effort for to do a breakdown of the 20th anniversary Pendulum, the silver black version, and just
Mm-hmm.
put in way too much effort scanning all this.
Yeah, that looked like really tough to scan.
Well, it was mostly the booklet, and the booklet's really fucking small. Like when you see the images, you expect, oh, it's like a pamphlet, and you get it, and it's like smaller than a coaster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, well, I don't want to shrink the scans too much, but then it doesn't look great because you want everything to be so large.
Mm-hmm. Well, the important thing is once you do scan the booklet, you get that image of Kopi Payman hanging
Yes,
out, which was really what made all of that worth it.
yes, and it's just, I kind of wish that he had his mouth though.
Mm.
I feel like it'd be even funnier if
The
he did.
little chibis,
Yeah,
the chibis fine.
yeah. So there was that. Um,
And hey, it meant we got to mention something from Atmon
yeah,
in this episode, which I wasn't sure was going to happen.
yeah, and this thing is such a pain in the ass to scan the actual box because it is all shiny, but shiny different ways, and it's oddly shaped, so I couldn't use the material I have that can deal with it being shiny. So I sort of just put it together and that was it because not much that could be done there. And just to comment on chat room, that's not Copymon. That is Kopipimon. The text actually references that he doesn't know who it is because it's not Copymon.
Yeah,
Um, that's come up a few
yeah,
times.
yeah. It's
Copymon does not have an Copymon's just a little tiny design. It's supposed to be Kopipimon.
yeah.
The text even references that he thinks his name is. I believe the text is literally him thinking his name is being called, and Rudomon doesn't know who the hell he is. The idea being that their name sounds amazingly similar. So
that image alone is now the second best Digimon Atmon
yeah,
crossover we've had.
yeah, but yeah, I just was comment because it was mentioned in the chat room that they thought
Yeah,
it was Copymon. As far as we know, that is supposed to be Kopipimon and not just that's what Copymon looks like.
yeah.
Moving on to the next thing. We got some mobile game updates, which does it feel like the last few times we've gotten like some big updates on this stuff, and this time was kind of here.
Yeah.
I mean, the issue of V Jump from a month ago, because that was a bit after we did the last
Yeah.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
They had a spread for Rear Eyes and Links, but nothing that interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I, like at first a few people were like, "We get to see the new form for Erismon," and then people were like, "Wait a second, we've seen that one." And Links they showed Apocalypse, so not too much to say about the mobile games.
Yeah.
Encounters finally came out on iOS in China, and I mean the footage is nice, but do we have anything to say about that really?
Well, the footage is was very unhelpful.
Yes.
Like I don't really it looks nice, but it doesn't really give me anything to be interested in. I mean, the customizable tamers I suppose is kind of cool. But other than that, it doesn't really intrigue me all that much.
Yeah. Um, got some more messages from some people in China that they really don't like the game. That's been the most consistently told thing we've been told about this game is they don't like it. They would like Links and Rear Eyes. Don't we
They don't
all?
have
Sort of.
links in rear eyes over there?
I guess not. I thought they had
Huh.
links. I
I
may
thought
be
they had
wrong.
links. Yeah.
It, it,
I just assumed they had links.
it's possible that I misread some of the messages I was sent that maybe they don't like links either and they want Rear Eyes, possibly.
Fair.
Yeah. Um, So moving on to yet another breakdown because I'm dumb enough to try to do 8 of these in a row. Um, the CSA DIGIVICE Tri-Memorial. They really put together a nice package for this.
Yeah, I really like the silhouette images. I'm not sure, have we seen the actual image, the colored images of those? Are they unique silhouettes for that?
I don't believe they're unique. I think
It's the first. I feel like it's the first time we've seen those particular images in silhouette
I
form.
believe they were from a promotion. They showed up in an app somewhere. I think I have the images. If so, I'll throw them up in the gallery. Just remind me to take a look, and I'll see if I can track them down. Because
Yeah.
I think we have these.
Okay.
But yeah, it's nice. The look was nice. I'm glad it kind of scanned nicely, more or less, when I actually put it on the scanner. More or less. The art card's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The material that was made out of sucks up light like you wouldn't believe. I had to completely redo the levels to make that look. Um, oh, and Nico pointed out those silhouettes were the theater cutouts also. Those,
They may be the second series of
yeah,
cutouts.
yeah,
Okay.
I
Yeah, because I know they don't look like the first series,
no,
but they did come out with that second series.
yeah, I think she's
Didn't
right, and
they?
that's what they're from.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, the when you if you don't have the actual Digivice in hand, the high point of this is the art, and it's hard to disagree because it really looks great.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on from that, I like when Premium Bandai does these, except that we can't really partake. So it's the end of the Heisei era is, I believe it's scheduled for April, correct?
Yeah, that's
Like
yes.
April 30th, I think.
It's something like that.
So a bunch of items for the last year and a half they're throwing up in a lotto.
That seems like such a strange reason to have a lotto.
Well,
It's like the emperor's abdicating. Let's give away Digimon stuff.
well, to a degree, I believe it's them being respectful because they tend to do this every year for Jump Festa, which is this
Okay.
weekend. So I think what they've done is they've just decided to make it seem fancier by going, it's the end of an era, so we're doing a lotto and spend money with us. Aha.
That seems like the Japanese equivalent of a President's Day sale.
Uh, yeah, but think about, like, they do this 2 or 3 times a year. I think they just look for a what's
Yeah,
coming up that we can slap the name on it to sell this mattress at 50% off.
a President's Day sale. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since someone asked something about the CSA Digivice really quickly, do we think they'll do a version of I think they're talking about the 15th anniversary with the Omegamon Merciful Mode color. I don't think so at the moment. I think they're concentrating on the X and probably a second series of those for the time being.
Yeah.
And now we get to talk about something we very rarely get to talk about this. Something Digimon Savers has shown up. Normally, I believe
See, that was all I was excited to get to mention Atmon in this podcast.
Yeah. See, here's the thing.
Get to mention Savers too.
Here's the thing.
Wow.
The last time we mentioned Savers, I believe AR threw me under the bus.
Yeah, well, anytime we mention Savers, it's usually just me trying to bring it up to get Savers some recognition.
True, but this, like, it really
but
did.
No, I will totally take credit for throwing you under the bus, though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're being all professional, and AR just like shoves me, and no one really like. We all kind of thought they might put an Agumon or Greymon thing there.
Mm-hmm.
No one like called Savers Agumon though. Period.
Yeah, even the build up to it, the leading from the egg to the footprints to the window, it just sort of suggests, first movie type stuff.
Well,
and it is consistent with Savers Agumon, but still.
Actually, when I showed this to someone, I got an explanation that I don't know if it's true, but it may explain it. There was a Savers Agumon statue that seemingly we don't have a photo of. That was at a Japanese water park for like one summer. So
Mm,
maybe this is that. Because we know there's the adventure one that they sometimes pull out of storage with the statue of Taichi and Daisuke.
right.
So maybe this is that. They have the weird sign saying "Don't ride Agumon, please."
Yeah, I was at an anime convention at a Kalahari where they have lots of statues of random African animals, and that's an actual problem.
I would like a better sign to explain it because it's literally just a piece it's just a piece of paper slightly off to the side.
Well, I mean, the piece of paper, I suppose it might, you don't want it to interfere with pictures.
Yeah,
Although
that's true.
that totally interferes with the picture.
Yes, it has not stopped tons of photos of people putting plushies around it, on him, and everything.
I want to see someone put a giant plate of eggs in front of them.
But yeah, it's nice to get to talk about Savers. But next we get to talk about the single most exciting thing possible. Socks.
It is the holidays.
Um,
And what better gift is there?
yeah. So we should explain this and then quickly move on. They did Miyazaki did one of his concerts and it was school themed. And like the day of, they announced they were going to have socks themed on it with a little character drawn on it. And I don't have anything else to say because socks.
Now we know why May is in Japan.
Yeah, May's gonna try to track down the socks. Um, and talking about something else we don't get to talk about that often, hunters.
Hunters!
Yeah,
I don't know why I said that with such enthusiasm. I hate hunters.
because you're lying and deep down you love hunters.
I think it's because I like talking about just some of the other seasons as
So
much as we can.
on Psychic Lovers' 15th anniversary best of album, Psychic Mania, uh, Tagiru Chikara's on it, and that song's great.
That's a great song, yeah.
It's a really great song. But I don't know what else to say because it's not like it's a new cover. It's literally just, hey,
Yeah,
the song's there.
it's just a best of, and that was one of their best songs. I haven't
Yes.
actually heard any other Psychic Lover songs, but
Oh,
if they said it was one, if they say it's one of their best ones, I believe them.
well, to be fair, it's like 2 discs, and it's just a bunch of themes.
Yeah,
But yeah, we got to talk about Hunters, which still feels a
it's
bit weird.
it's not only Hunters, but Hunters in a positive light because
Yes.
Tagiru Chikara is a banger.
And now, we didn't really need to talk about this, but I just like showing off the art. The Digimon Tamers Battle Spirit set is out. We have all the images. I think, did we have them all before the last episode, or was it right after?
If not, we were really close.
Yeah, but whatever.
I don't see any ones that jump out at me.
Yeah, but regardless.
Although looking
at
at them again, I love that there are cards of cards.
Yes. And not only that, it's not even like exciting cards. All 4 of them are like the exact same render. They just changed out the image.
Mm-hmm.
And the one is zoomed in a little bit. The wings.
That's the wings. That was crucial to the plot of an episode.
Yeah, I think like it shows up in episode like 2 for 10 seconds, right? Somewhere around there.
The wings one shows up a few times. It wasn't in the Ice Devimon episode, I know.
Okay, yeah, you're probably right on that.
We can move on. We've now checked Tamers off of our checklist.
Yes. Hey, now we get to do Adventure 02 and Tamers. Because there's a good... Now here's the thing. They call this a playmat. It's kind of like a fake playmat. So the Battle Spirits has started their big championship tournament, multi-country, blah, 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 blah. I don't play the card game, so it means very little to me overall, except
at the convention I was at last month, I did see a deck of Battle Spirits cards. I'm like, oh, it does exist.
Now, they call this a microfiber playmat. It is a handkerchief, stuff in your pocket, clean up your hands, that can be used as a very tiny playmat, and it uses art from all three sets. And I don't know why I like this stupid thing so much. It's just because it's like brilliant and stupid at the same time.
Hmm.
And I just don't know what to say about it beyond that. It's definitely
If you're in the middle of that Venn diagram between CCG gamers and people who carry around their own handkerchiefs, then this is the gift for you.
Well, the thing is you have to remember, in Japan, they do carry around handkerchiefs.
Yeah, yes.
Now, I can't imagine you'd want to,
I don't know if they're
clean your hands and then put cards on it. And I think it was Garm who mentioned it to me. This probably isn't really big enough to play with. This is like someone who has a roll-up keyboard in their pocket, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I still like the design and it has the art. What would have been great is if we saw a little like Agumon in the background as a teaser.
Oh.
Now.
Yeah, once the Frontier set comes out, this is immediately irrelevant.
Yes.
They'll have to come up with another one.
Hey, don't worry. It's easy to make handkerchiefs.
Yeah, and by the time the Frontier one comes out, then you're probably going to have gone through that handkerchief enough times that you're going to want to toss it.
And now for yet another breakdown. This time I got to do almost nothing. So that's why I like DevQ. She's very helpful. She helps run Wikimon, and she does stuff so I don't have to do it. The Digimon Tamers collection. I think she actually scanned this a year or two ago, and we both forgot about it. It is a guide to Digimon Tamers using the toys. And then, because they didn't have enough pages, they did it for 02 also.
I didn't realize there were so many toys of the human kids.
Well, the funny part is it actually does say at the beginning, this is not comprehensive to the toys, and any text is referring to the shows, not the toys.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of weird because it is kind of like a lot of information in here.
Mm-hmm.
And it just
I want the figures from the eye catch, those little rounded ones.
Yeah, that. And of course, that was the stuff.
It's like I didn't think they made those for real, but.
And yeah, I'm sure I'm misremembering, but that was the Tamer's eye catch, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. It's one of those things where I kept staring at it, going, "Where the hell is this from?" I don't remember, and I'm too lazy to go check my Blu-ray boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then
that's.
Yeah. Now, the funnier part, though, of course, is that as a guide, it actually works better for 02 than Tamers because it's missing the last part of Tamers.
Mm.
Because it does not have. Why can't I remember the title right now? Runaway Locomon.
Oh, right.
Because
this was like a late 02 early Tamers. Or even mid.
No. I believe the date they give in the booklet for when the guide ends is like October 2001, like literally like a week or two before the movie came out.
Oh, okay.
Like as in they put the book together, and then I think the book itself is dated like August or September.
Mm.
So it's like they had to do a cutoff date, and they did it like 1 week too early.
Yeah.
I forgot how nice, like, some of these toys look like cheap crap, but some of these really are nice looking toys.
Yeah, I mean, I was at that con I was at, someone just gave me a random Tailmon. I need to get her fixed and try that out because it's a battery powered walking Tailmon figure.
And since it was brought up in the chat room, DevQ actually was invited to be a guest host on this episode. She just simply could not make it. Because someone mentioned we should have given her accolades in person. She's very busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great guidebook. Look up the images if you haven't. I still love that stupid Omegamon figure. Where it's literally two figures and you have to put them together. And I don't know why I love it so much, but I do.
There's a lot of stupid figures in this one. I'm impressed.
Yeah. And yet another breakdown. from Dev, although if I recall right, I did all the editing on these, and she taunted me because she was in a few of the images, and I had to edit her out. So this is the RUKI and RENAMON gem figures.
Yeah, that one's been out for a while.
It's
I
been
was
out,
sort
yeah,
of surprised to see when this one come across.
yeah. Yeah, packaging's nice. The figures look nice. Um, the best part of doing, because she sends the images. She's like, "Are these okay? Do you need different ones?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's neat." The little index card through. She's like, "Yeah, I don't know what that is." And I'm like, "I think you cut out the cards and she holds it." I believe her
Yeah.
response, and I believe her response was, "That makes sense." And then May messaged me saying the saddest day for her was it got misplaced when she was moving or something for her version
Yeah.
of it.
My wife actually bought me this figure. It turned out to be a bootleg. To this day, I don't actually know whether the cards were included. Like if I just threw them out with the packaging, or because it's a bootleg, they just didn't bother with them.
Do they have like the melty faces that bootlegs sometimes have?
A little bit. It's not too bad for a bootleg, but it is definitely
Yeah.
a bootleg.
Yeah, it's the one thing I do like with these figures is like they're molded properly 300 basically 360 degrees around. And
Yeah.
the stand's nice.
Yeah, the molding's nice, the stand's nice.
Everything seems to be spelled correctly, which is not always a given with Digimon products. I feel like you could like not 3D print, but like cut out like a really nice card for her to hold. Because you can tell they did not plan for these to last long because they give you 3 of each. Let's see. Do we have anything else to say about RUKI and RENAMON?
No. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah. Still nice to get a good look at the figure, though.
Oh, yes.
And now, are these coming out faster, or am I imagining it? Because they've announced Series 7 of CAPSULE. Like, wasn't it like we were getting like 1, and then a few months later we got 2, and then a month later we got 3, and now 7's coming out?
Yeah, I think we just got done talking about 6 last time.
Oh yeah, I think they only announced 6, and I think 5's only just now come out, and they're throwing them at us. So we have no date yet, which may change very, very quickly, potentially. It's Vegemon, Bakumon, Skumon, Ogremon, and Edamon. Does it
Who
feel
doesn't
like...
want a little more? Who doesn't want more Skumon in their
I was
lives?
about to say, does it feel like there's a theme with this one? Like, most of the others, there's no theme to. It feels like this theme is the kind of pseudo assholes.
Yeah, sure.
It's our first.
I like that Skumon comes with Tumon as well. That's
Well,
nice.
to be fair, we don't actually know that because it's not like it's a picture of the mold. They gave the names, and then I just threw on the artwork.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and even other images that have shown up is just the artwork. I would hope he will be there, like when they gave Numamon the poop.
Yeah.
But we will see.
Chumon is Skumon's poop.
Yeah. And now, okay. There's a lot of exciting products to talk about. For whatever reason, this one caught on with people. So first up, we have the 20th anniversary plushies. Each one it's almost like they're to scale based on the sizes, which is kind of amazing. Like you would figure they would each be like 6 inches tall, except Patamon, who would be 6 inches wide. These all have like their own sizes and prices.
Oh.
So we get the 8 adventure partners in March. And then also in March we get a Patamon cushion and a Terriermon cushion. And here's the thing. I suspect these are not really photos of them because I swear that Terriermon plushie came out like 6 months ago. I think they just threw a photo.
There's so many Terriermon plushies now, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I think they just threw that there as a stand-in. That is also in March. And then it gets kind of weird. Would you like to explain the weird things?
The tissue box holders. Yeah. Tissues coming out of Togemon's mouth.
And Patamon's laying down, and it looks nice-ish.
Yes. The Patamon one looks
Yes.
fine. I would have a Patamon one in the house.
Yeah. Togemon you have to hang up, and it looks like she is just vomiting out tissues.
I'm gonna convince my convention to get one of those and put it in the restroom or something.
If you do, make sure you get a photo of it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because even the sample photo, it does not look pleasant. Like it's a nice looking plush thing, but like the tissue, it looks like projectile vomit, sort of.
Mm-hmm. With a character who doesn't really open her mouth all that wide.
Yeah, but
just sort of.
It feels less like this is a product that, I mean, none of these need to exist. It feels like someone went, I got an idea. And then it just happened.
I really want to know how they came to choose Togemon. Because it's the only adult, Tailmon, I suppose, but it's the only, evolved form in the set.
I feel like it was chosen because it is just a wide, tall thing. There's no, sort of like when you do Patamon, you can just have Patamon laying there. Togemon is just standing there, and it happens to have a hole about where it needs to be.
The bowling ball holes for eyes and mouth.
Now, on top of those plushies, we now have to talk about the most important plushie. We're getting a giant Mochimon plushie. Now, we both agree this is the best thing possible, correct?
Oh yes.
Like I remember when I was just like skimming around looking to see if there's anything worth posting about it. I'm like, look at this. It's amazing. It is just the greatest. And the weird thing is we still have no information about a Japanese release for this.
Right.
Like, U.S. pre-orders are open. And the weirdest thing, it is not part of the life-size line. They actually list as being as part of the stuffed collection, which has not had a release for like 2 or 3 years. That was where they showed off those 8 really nice plushies at DigiFest of all 8 partners, and we got Agumon and Patamon, and then we never got any of them again. This is officially part of that line. I want it. It's like $40. That's not quite too much. I'm gonna be stupid and buy
that's
this.
on the high end. That's on the high end of I could do this.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like if it were 60 or 70 before tax and shipping, I'd go hell no.
Right.
But like 43 is like right at the line where like, well, maybe they'll have a sale or maybe they'll do free shipping, and then I will be stupid and I will order this. And I'm guessing.
If I see this at a convention,
yes,
it's coming home.
You're buying it, and I suspect May will also, because this is just the bet. Like it has the little mouth, like mouth bulge.
Well, yeah.
It looks amazing, and it's like 10 inches tall, and they pose it hiding behind. It's the best thing ever. And moving on, they're doing another Summer Friends ANISONG event. And this time, we not only get Yudo Kazama, we get Kei Araki, who's Hikari in Adventure No 2, Patamon in Frontier. And both of them have done a few other roles in Digimon. Most relevant, I believe, Kazama was Metal Seedramon, wasn't he?
Oh, I have no idea beyond the original, beyond the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I think he was Metal Seedramon, and I know she did a few other roles.
Yes, I know Kei Araki did a few different roles.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that the picture you had for Kazama is in a green turtleneck.
That's one of those things where I got the photo like a year or two ago for something, and I just keep reusing it because
it fits. He's Yamato. The green turtleneck just goes with him. Yes,
it does. Early ticket sales have already begun. Prices aren't terrible for a music event. 4,500 yen, that's about $40. And not much else to say about it. I mean, we're not going, and
we're not going.
No. I do love the idea.
If they for some reason decide to pull out one of Yamato's image songs, then let us know.
They may. Can we just say the title? Summer Friends, Miracle in Winter. Can't you just call it like Winter Friends? I mean, they
It's a
could.
miracle that they're doing a Summer Friends event in winter.
Ding ding. And the next one, we actually have something relevant to talk, which I believe you may have already said it is. They extended the escape room through January 14th, so May's
Yeah,
going.
that's a good sign.
Yeah. Well, not only that wasn't a small extension either. It was like a 2 month
Oh,
event, and now it's like over 3 months. And we got the slightly mysterious teaser that suggests a second one.
yeah.
There's not really enough to read, minus that
Never.
they make sure we can see the number 2. And the part that annoyed me, and because this is how dumb trying to do news sometimes can get, if you look really carefully above that black text, you can see the imprint of other text. And I was trying to Photoshop it so that Garm could read it. So like, I'm literally like, readjusting the
What are
levels.
you expecting to find? The script for the second escape room?
No, but there may be an actual title there that they just covered with a piece of paper. You can sort of see like an imprint of the text.
No, I can. Yeah, yeah.
So I was
I
trying to
like that
make
we're.
that.
I like that we're. I like that there's a massive potential teaser later in the episode, and we're trying to parse out a teaser for an escape room.
Yeah. To be fair, that was a few weeks ago, and the news was going slightly slower. Slightly. And we are back to yet more breakdowns because I was insane. Um,
It's Digimonukkah.
yes. And there's an actual question regarding that later, which will
Yes,
help
I saw
explain.
that.
So this is the FIGUARTS of MetalGarurumon, which was the original Designer's Edition. Dev scanned it. Um, I did some touch-up stuff for it. And the interesting thing here was that I wanted to, because it is kind of fucking weird the way this figure came out. So towards the end, I kind of explain how weird D-Arts got towards the end, where we had a subline that only had 2 figures, and each one has different figure branding on it because of how they were released.
Hmm.
It just was very odd because they only did 2 of um, the original Designer's Edition, and this is from 2015, and that's unique. Do you remember why the actual figure is unique though, beyond the line?
No,
No,
I don't think I was. I don't think I was paying attention to figures in 2015.
most fans didn't really follow much in the way of names at the time, so I don't think most people knew at the time who Kenji Watanabe really was.
Hmm.
Because, like, I remember when it came out, people were like, well, what's different about this one? It's the original Designer's Edition. Who's that? And,
Hmm. Okay.
and I think
I'd
people,
heard of Watanabe at the
well,
time, though.
not hearing about him, but I mean not like today where he's an actual topic of conversation.
Right.
Where he was just a name that occasionally came up, sort of. Where now it seems like at least most fans who go discuss the brand have an idea who he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of was not true just 3 or 4 years ago. I feel like everyone knew who Kakudo was, and that was borderline where it ended for most people at the time.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
I still like the figures, and I would like some of these to be re-released so people could get them if they want to. Because it is a nice figure. The box still kind of bothers me because they kind of turned the art and it looks weird. And more Watanabe artwork. After, yeah. Wow, I lost track of the cards there for a second.
It's like, can you just skip one?
No, what happened was I'm clicking over the cards and my eye looks down a bit. I'm like, oh wow, I forgot those Shikishis look really nice, and then I start talking about them,
We're
having
not
forgotten
on
what we're
that
actually
one.
talking about. So, Digivolving Spirits HOLYANGEMON is finally out this week on Saturday, and oddly, they're doing the Touch and Try event that same day, which is kind of weird because you'd think you'd want people to play with them ahead of time, because that's how they've done their marketing for these in general. May wanted me to mention that she's not super excited for this one, purely because Tentomon was so good. How can this live up to it?
Nothing can beat Tentoma.
Yeah. Although she also admitted that she had said the same thing about Diablomon, and Tentomon just blew him away. But yeah, this looks nice. I'm looking forward.
This one does look good.
Yeah. I want to see more photos. It looks great, but I want to see more photos first because we all thought the same about Tailmon. And the Angelomon looks nice, but Tailmon is kind of goofy-ish.
Yeah.
Like that is very clearly.
And Patamon's wings are a little suffer a little bit.
I don't mind that they basically have some feathering on them to a degree.
Yeah. I mean, you get why, but
yeah, but if that's if that's the worst part is that Patamon has some feathering and there's orange on the back of Polyangemon, I'm perfectly okay with that. If that's as bad as it gets, and we won't know until we get photos, and that's why the event being so late kind of worries me. Have they scheduled it the day of because they don't want to deal with people bitching about it? We will see.
Well, people can touch it first.
Now, we can actually talk about what I accidentally started to talk about before. For those who pre-ordered BLACKWARGREYMON in Japan, they're giving away 2 Shikishis. We saw the BLACKWARGREYMON one. That was the one they had on display at Tamashii Nations, and Kakado didn't give a shit and took photos of everything.
Yeah.
We have not seen Black Agumon, though, correct? I don't think we've seen this.
I would have remembered this one.
Yeah. Both look great. None of us are going to get them. I would really love whoever gets these to scan them. We've actually gotten some good photos of some of these. Like, one that we'll be talking about in a bit was actually one, and the person took photos and put them on Twitter. Not great photos, but photos nonetheless. And now we get to talk about the bit, like, we actually got a question about this last time, but we were not expecting to be proven this right so quickly. Last time we were asked, were gems done?
Oh.
And we said no, it was just timing. And pretty quickly after, they've announced 3 of them. So, Black Wargreymon's obvious because they have Wargreymon. Black Wargreymon's a popular character who shows up in an anime, and they don't have to do jack shit to make him. That's an obvious one.
Yeah.
And not only that, they've already announced the release date for the US and other countries and the price. Basically, end of July, early August, $190. It's just Wargreymon painted black.
Yeah.
Although some people are really upset about the shield. I think we both agreed they were never going to fix the shield.
Right.
It is going to have the black courage mark on it because that's why you're able to get this figures, that they don't have to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
The bigger surprise was that they actually announced the results from that poll, which I feel like we've brought up 2 or 3 times since they did it. Possibly last time also, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go over the poll results before we go over the actual figures. So perfect, the winner was Arrow Vidramon.
Okay.
Second was Rise Greymon.
Good representation.
Rise Greymon makes sense because it is one of the better. It's one of the better looking Savers characters, and it's a nice looking character, and it makes sense because there's not a lot of stuff from there. And Paledramon.
I like that Paledramon got on there.
Yeah, so do I.
Like that's a fun choice and kind of an underregarded design.
Yeah. Now, the Ultimates. The first choice, I believe we've joked about 100 times that it was in the poll, so it was going to get number 1, and it did, which is Omegamon. The second is UL Force Vidramon, which kind of surprising it got so high up there. But, we all love Zero Maru. And third was Alphamon or Yuken.
Sure.
Omegamon, we've already seen the prototype of, and holy shit. Did you see the measurements for this thing?
No.
We don't have the exact size, but comparing it to the figures we can see in other photos with it, it looks like I think I measured it out to like 20 inches tall or so. Around there.
Jeez.
It was a while ago though, so who knows what it's going to cost, and I'm worried that I'm going to buy it. It looks stupidly good. Like like this is what like the upgrading the line to precious gem kind of was for, and we even joked that this is what they were building up to. And it really does look spectacular. Like the detailing in the face, which is kind of suffers on the artwork sometimes for the character. It's just man, it really looks nice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then the biggest surprise of all was them announcing they're doing one for UL Force Vidramon.
That's
And
cool.
and if that does not have V-Tamer branding on it, I will be so fucking pissed. Like
Right?
like that there is no reason to do a figure of him that is
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
V-Tamer branded.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see it. Like I want there to be art
Just
on the
just
cover.
call him Zero Maru and be done with
Yes.
it.
I mean, realistically, that's why Arrow Vidramon got up there also, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't see the
Like
generic.
Arrow Vidramon in the perfect category was the real, like, okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, all I
What kind of force we're dealing with
like.
here?
Here's the thing. All I really would need is um, do Zero Maru with Tai Chi, both of them super deformed, and then them dancing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. And we already talked about Hunters. Now we get to talk about Fusion / Cross Wars.
No, this is fusion. I'm sticking to
Yeah,
fusion for
yeah, it's
this.
Fusion, but / Cross Wars in the sense of it's the same thing to a degree. Um, and the nice thing was I was actually able to get in touch with him and get more information, which Panini actually cleared him to give to us. So UK artist Russ Leach, an editor at Panini, asked him to do some test pages that they had already done the deal to do a Digimon Fusion comic in the UK. He did some pages, and he doesn't know the details, but the deal was undone. He put the pages up on Twitter, and we got the additional information from him. And these look really nice.
Yeah.
Like this is not, the 1999 Saban did it really quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just amazed that we almost had a Digimon fusion comic.
Yeah.
That's just blows my mind.
Yeah. But not only that, like the art all looks like it's based around basically the first two or so episodes from what few pages we have. But like the designs are all really nice, especially like the shot with Shoutmon.
Mm-hmm.
Is it is
Shoutmon times two.
yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the one of normal Shoutmon. The only way Shoutmon would be improved in that image was if he had his staff, microphone, staff, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, it's nice artwork. It would have been. I kind of wonder if there's more, but who knows?
Yeah, it's not a released thing
Yeah,
anyway, so.
yeah. And moving on, we get to talk about O2 and Frontier, even though we've kind of brought them up already. STARZ has added seasons 2 and 4 to their on-demand catalog and their apps.
I love the piecemeal season
Yeah,
adding.
yeah.
It always amuses
So
me.
at the moment they have seasons 1, 2, and 4,
1, 2, and
and
4.
try part 1.
Yeah, the Tripart one was also kind of interesting.
Well, it
Like
feels.
they haven't, like it's like try it out and then get the DVDs or something.
I wonder if it's a case where they licensed a movie and then they just haven't looked into it past that.
Which is very possible because I remember part one getting released in a lot of different places.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I never heard about that for future
Well,
releases.
part 1 seemed to be handled completely differently than the others to a degree. So it may have something to do with that. And then we get to just like railroad straight on to more Frontier. Do you like the pun there?
Hmm? Oh, I
Ah, it's such a
sad.
terrible pun you didn't even notice it.
No, I cut out for a
Oh,
second.
I said let's railroad straight on to more Frontier.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was bad.
Compliment my pun, damn it. Um, so the new Frontier audio drama. The title we got, which is A Train Named Hope, and a number of people were very excited about this because apparently the wording is exactly the same as the Japanese release of the film A Streetcar Named Desire. So they're wondering if it's a direct reference to that.
Hmm. I
Um,
suppose it
yeah,
could
maybe.
be.
So the staff is
I mean, a blank named blank is a pretty
yeah,
common.
yeah. So the staff is pretty solidly guessable. The producer is Seki Hiromi. The
Mm-hmm.
director is Yukio Kaizawa, who directed the show. The sound director is Kakudo, and he was also listed under, I believe, musical selection also. And the script writer is Hiro Masaki. And the reason it's Masaki instead of head writer for the show Tomita is it appears Tomita's retired. I can't confirm that, but it looks like he hasn't done anything in a long time.
Okay.
Um, and he wrote about um, Masaki wrote about 20% of Frontier. There's no one who wrote more than him other than the head writer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'm
I
not.
never knew the writing staff for Frontier,
Yeah,
so
but it's minus the head
they're
writer.
not as they weren't as talkative before before this month apparently.
Well, that's the thing. It appears the entire and I mean we'll get to it in a minute. The reason Masaki's being so talkative appears because there's no one else to do it.
Yeah.
So it appears he's decided to be very talkative because he's writing the new thing. He wrote more episodes than anyone else. Who else is going to talk if not him?
Mm-hmm.
And the cast announcement's very interesting because we get the six leads, which is all very obvious.
Right.
Mine is having to explain to people who Shitanda was because
Yeah. Yeah.
that's one of those times where someone changed their stage name. The interesting name, of course, is they credited Masami Kokichi as the narrator. He played Neymon, and I believe he narrated the entire series. So it'll be interesting to see if Neymon shows up or not. It's worth mentioning that technically speaking, Joe and Gomamon are in this. Not
I
not as
yeah.
characters, but their voices. I mean,
Yeah.
we could say Naruto's in this also if we wanted to. Um,
I mean that's the reason why Joe and Gomamon showed up in Hunters.
yes,
So
their actors happen to be
yeah.
there. And they all signed
Don't
what was that?
I was just like, don't Joe and Gomamon are not going to be in the Frontier drama.
No. Well, a Gomamon might appear for all we know.
I suppose a Gomamon, but there was Gomamon in Frontier itself, so
True. They did a Shikishi signed by them. That has already been won and was already sent out. That was where I mentioned that there are photos of it on Twitter, which is kind of neat. Um, and then we have a lot more Frontier to talk about, don't we?
yes.
So first up,
I say with surprise.
yeah. So
it's
first,
a big Frontier episode.
yeah. So first up, on January 3rd at midnight, they're gonna air their HD remaster on TV, and we have a rough idea what that will look like. I mean, we've discussed it before. There was an interview with Takeuchi about Frontier. Um, if Garmershin has time, there'll be a translation of that. If not, we'll see what we can do. Because we're starting to get promotion stuff for the Blu-ray box, which is out August 2nd. But the exciting thing was Hiro Masaki, who, like we mentioned, is doing the new audio drama, began to just go through behind the scenes of everything he was involved with for Frontier.
Mm-hmm.
So he first now it's weird because with Frontier, so little has been said about it at certain times that to a degree certain things were guesstimated, like us saying that it was clearly an attempt to correct back to what Adventure did.
Yeah.
That's based on the content. Here, he actually tells us that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's neat. And then he goes through every single episode he wrote, going over the original episode titles, references that he put in.
Yeah, it's. I mean, not a lot of the stuff seems pretty obvious to me, but at the same time, just the fact that this stuff felt missing for Frontier. Like, we
Yes.
got this so much for, but between Kakudo and Konaka, they broke down the first 3 seasons pretty extensively, so that
Yes.
we kind of have had these notes before.
Yeah.
But getting this stuff for Frontier is pretty cool.
Well, what the other thing that was interesting was, like, some of this stuff which we've taken as super obvious because we're a bit older than the average Digimon fan nowadays. Certain things that
we're referring to the wacky races.
Yeah,
parody.
like a lot. Yeah, like the
You don't have to mince words here. That's what we're talking
Yes,
about. Is the
wacky. Like he brings up the Wacky Races parody and he goes into it to a degree in detail. And I
Yes.
saw a number of people going, "Oh, that was based on Wacky Races. I thought it was, but I was never sure." And I was just like, "Wait, what?" It's
I mean,
it's literally Wacky Races. I mean, like,
yeah. Knowing that the name, the Choo Choo, the Great Trailmon race, is based off of the title of Wacky Races in Japan, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like like the first time I saw it, it's like, okay, Dogma obviously based off of Muttley.
Yeah. And of course, it was such an obvious thing. They literally, when they did the dub, they literally just dubbed him as Muttley with the
Yes.
which was great. But yeah, that was just it was just weird because it was like so obvious to me, and it never even occurred to me that I guess if you didn't watch Wacky Races, it's not obvious because you've never seen the show.
I never watched a ton of Wacky Races, and I still understood it, which is weird.
We don't get quite as deep background because he wasn't the head writer, so he doesn't necessarily know like the
you don't get the long series composition notes.
That hasn't stopped people from trying to ask him and him just going. Yeah, I mean that has effectively been his response because people have tried to ask him when multiple people have said, "Let's not do this again." Because this has happened a few times where we've effectively harassed people off Twitter. He knows.
Has someone asked why Frontier's so bad yet?
That's the weird part is he sort of comments on that. He actually says he found it fun to reminisce about the episodes he wrote in the lead up to the Blu-ray box. And as one of the people involved in creating Frontier, no matter how viewers assess the work, that they took the time to watch it in the first place makes him happy.
There's a lot of fun things in Frontier.
Yeah.
Like, I'll drag on Frontier all the time because I don't think it's very good, but there's stuff to it. There's plenty to enjoy in Frontier.
Frontier has many issues, but it can be fun to watch. Because...
And if you're willing to overlook those issues, there's plenty of people who have Frontier ranked very highly, and I think half of them attended my panel last month.
Ironically, I think there's like half a dozen things that if you tweaked, it would make Frontier a lot better. The problem is those are all huge things.
Yeah, really is.
But yeah, it's nice just to get the stuff for Frontier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and let's close out Frontier by just reiterating. Please leave this guy alone. Please. I mean, let's not make it so that he literally goes, "It's not fun answering questions anymore," like Konaka did after people were asking him for the 20th time about Frontier for some reason. The only thing Konaka knows about Frontier is that they based the one face off the logo him and his brother used from one of their early films. That's all he knows. And moving on, we got anniversaries. It's
the same date, too.
Yes. November 21st was the third anniversary of Tri, and the 20th anniversary of V-Tamer. And Yabuno posted new V-Tamer art, and he was like responding to people, and it was like really neat because a lot of people were sending him thank you
Mm-hmm.
messages,
And
and
he was retweeting a lot of
he was
V-Tamer
retweeting
art.
them. He was responding to them. Um, then the weirdest part was the V Jump issue that came out the same day had a nice big V Tamer spread in it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some slight confusion over that. It is not a new printing or a new release. It's just them going over it because they had space and they thought it'd be fun for the anniversary.
Yeah. And yeah, it's an
Yeah.
anniversary. I
And
think it's a good time to look back at it.
because both of those V Jump issues were released on the normal schedule, sometimes if there's a special event or something, they'll tweak it slightly.
Right, right.
Because both the original issue and the new one were on schedule, it actually came out 20 years to the day,
Mm-hmm.
which was just fun. Um, it's weird to have so much to say about V Tamer. Like normally, if we want to talk about V Tamer, we have to find a reason to.
Which we did for Atmon.
Yeah, but here but we're getting V Tamer stuff to talk about. It's just strange.
Yeah.
Um, and hopefully we have more to talk about for V Tamer in the future. But back to the try train for now.
Hey, I like episodes where we can shoehorn every media into this somehow.
The only thing that we aren't like really covering here that's big is Atmon, like a real dealing.
Yeah,
from him.
Yeah. There's no real Atmon news.
Yeah, but like,
I mean, I suppose if you want to count Digimon Next,
but that's what I mean. You start having to stretch. But even then, Saver's Agumon could be next Agumon.
Yeah, like that was legit.
Or I believe he does evolve into RiseGreymon in Next.
That's true.
So moving on to Tri parts.
There's a lot of trains in Next too.
Tri. I should have used that for Frontier, but didn't occur to me. Tri Part 6 is out in the US. Did the scans, the screen caps. There was a lot to go over for the disc, and the extra was really nice.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch the new extra. I've been holding off so long because I've seen so many panels about the mechanics and technique of voice acting. It's like I've been on a panel with Colleen. I don't need to watch one.
There is no bleeping or blocking out of stuff this time. Because Jeff Nimoy is not there to have his fun. There is.
I've been on a panel with Jeff Nimoy too. Yeah.
Now here's why you need to watch it though. There is something absolutely amazing. So, towards the end, they have some cast members, quote unquote, try out, and then they read a scene, but they do not have anyone to play Matt. So Joshua Sett does it. Joshua Sett does not take it very seriously. He's sitting there doing he's sitting there going, "Hey, Matt," like doing mock surfer voices, going, "I'm so cool, I'm Matt, I'm in a band," and he's like just having fun with it. And you will.
I might skip to that part, but I have to check it out.
You need to. It's fun. It really is. It's long, and for some reason they encoded it as MPEG-2, and I don't know why. And it really bothers me that they did that. There's nothing really wrong with it for that type of thing. It's just really, really odd. And I feel like that has been the theme of the Shout releases: is a lot of stuff's good, and then there's just some weird, odd stuff. Like one or two.
I'm told they did not fix that sound issue that I overlooked.
No, they did not. Which is weird because we still might be imagining it. It feels like someone re-edited stuff for Part 5. Because I've listened to you and me talking about it, and that does not sound like what we got on the disc.
Yeah.
It's possible that's our imagination, though, to be fair.
It could be.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about the dub before. Do we need to say anything about it here?
I haven't watched it since then, so no.
We will probably revisit it with May. after something we discuss shortly. But yeah, so that was a breakdown. Then yet another one was the collection. So
Mm-hmm.
this one was a bit weird. Um, I'm just going about my day, and okay, mail came. Go and check, and there's a package from Shout, and it's the collection. And it's like I didn't get part 6 from them. Okay, so I did that, and it's like I don't have part 6 yet because so many people ordered it. It got pushed back for a bunch of people, including me, and I believe it was pushed back for you also. So that was a bit weird in that the
Mm-hmm.
actual breakdown for the collection was out before for part 6 because I didn't get it, you didn't get it. People were
Mm-hmm.
saying it was selling out all around them. At one point, Amazon claimed they had uh, it was for what, a month and a half or so. It was just long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the packaging's nice. I would have liked the digital codes to be included. The artwork is exactly what it should be. Minus, I still don't like the logo. I understand why they're doing it. Just
Yeah. Yeah.
stop fucking with the logo. But yeah, it's nice. The back's nice, and I forgot to mention the back of part 6 had the best screenshot on it.
Oh, yeah. That had a Tentomon, didn't it?
Yes, the tent.
Yeah.
That was a
I
great
did
choice.
I did look at the box. I did do that
Good,
much recently.
good. That can be the text on the back of the re-release. AR Pulver says, "I did look at the back of the box
I
when I
did
got
look
it."
at the back of the box.
Yeah. So, and we get to see that art again, thanks to Kay, who scanned part 6 in the UK, which the UK has had some of the weirdest stuff with art for this. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing, it's future, it uses the US, but the
Yeah,
box
it's like
says our future.
yeah, that too. I was like the UK using the same art for part 6
It
as
it
the
it,
US uses
it
for the collection, even though that is a part 6 poster.
yes,
Like it's legit.
yeah,
It's
but if
just
here's what it feels like has happened in general. It feels like Toei is sending material to Manga UK. Shout sends the masters for stuff that they've done, and that's it. So we've gotten weird stuff like stuff is slightly off. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
It's just kind of weird because that's not what it's called in the dub. I believe when they did, I want to say their social media marketing called it Future.
I think even Crunchyroll has it as future. I'm gonna check this and confirm that, but
I don't remember.
I'm gonna check this and confirm it.
Yes, this is
But
important business.
go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Crunchyroll calls future too.
Yeah. So everywhere in the world calls it Future in English
Yeah.
for the US release and for the except some stuff in the UK, which is
Yeah,
kind of
I mean,
odd.
my for the first 2 episodes on when I posted on System Restore, I used Our Future, then changed it back when Crunchyroll confirmed it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. The cover stuff is weird because the first one having a full character cover makes sense to a degree. And then they
Mm-hmm.
went to use the Japanese home video covers, which makes sense because those are all amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Mm-hmm.
they stopped for this one, which is just fucking weird. Like it, there's no. Is there anything to say about it other than it being weird?
Oh yeah, everything
Yeah,
about that is just
yeah.
bizarre.
The art cards for this one are also weird. We get one card with the Digimon, minus Mekumon. We get
Ooh.
one card with all 9 kids.
Mm-hmm.
We get the another version of the cloud falling type shot.
Yeah.
And then, because it keeps fucking showing up, the, 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 the group shot of them at a festival, which,
Yeah.
like, I'm glad it showed up some.
We need to have a code name for this one picture. Like
Because,
this is just Matsuri
yeah,
pick or something.
like, it keeps showing up. It's like cursed.
Yeah.
But it's finally there. And of course, the poster is the reverse cover, which is the first cover for Part 6.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just very strange, and very strange.
I feel like whatever piece of merchandise Try comes out with next is going to use this again, even though it was already on the art book.
Well, because it works really well as a group shot, like for we're having fun.
I don't even necessarily
yeah.
agree with that because so many of them are pushed to the background. Like, you know, Mimi and Koshiro and Mako are just so far in the background.
But see, that makes it look more personal. Rather than just having them all posing at the front, it's like they're all going out and having fun and whatever.
I guess it just looks like it's really dominated between the four foreground characters.
Well, let's be honest. If you're going to advertise with characters, which four?
You're not wrong.
I mean, those are the four characters that most people aim at.
Yep.
And of course,
to hell with Koshiro, you can't even see his entire face.
Yeah. Although oddly, you can pretty much see Tentomon really well.
Well, you gotta have Tentomon.
Yes. And then because Australia is hated, we finally get the date for them, and it's another wait for Australia. They get it in March. I will speak for May when I say that doesn't seem very fair for them. It's done. Just give it to them at this point.
At least it's March and not in to be determined.
See, but now you've said that, and it's going to curse them. Yeah, March.
The curse will be the art not finalized on the actual product.
Yeah. And yeah, we'll have more to say about this with May. I don't think we have anything else to say about it now.
No,
but we have a lot more to talk about now, don't we?
Oh yes.
So
let's see if this loads up for me.
Yeah. So before we talk about this, there actually is even a story about us doing this in the first place, and holy shit, I forgot that was the cover art.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The stupid part is when
Phantom Matsuri pose.
When we were discussing the art, I'm like, did that show up on the book? I don't remember, and I don't feel like looking it up. And then I click the card. It's like, oh shit, it's the cover again.
Yep.
So first, and AR knows this, there's even a story to us even doing this fucking topic.
Oh god, yeah.
So, everyone knows Onke. She translates the huge stuff that no one else will do, and
like the good Atmon subs.
Yeah. So she's been doing this when she has free time, and just, you know, quick translate a line, throw on Twitter, quick translate a line, throw on Twitter, and just doing that over and over while she's had time. And so originally, me and
if I was smart, I would have pulled up the comments I made when she originally did that.
So, as she did this, I had been saving stuff because she knew I was gonna turn it into an article at some point. She's like, I'm still working on it. So me and AR talked about. We decided this was what 2 or 3 episodes ago at this point.
It was something like that. 2 or 3.
We have enough to talk about. Let's go ahead and wait so that she can do more. She does more. It's like, and we're getting ready to do it. And she goes, I may have time to do more, but I don't know. So we decide we'll wait. At that point, she doesn't really have time to do more, but we just don't have the time to really put it in. And then I decide, screw it, I'm throwing it out during Digimonukkah. So I put it all together in an article. I go over things that need to be changed. I send the whole thing to her so she can make sure that any tweaks I've made are accurate. She gives me the thumbs up, and I throw it up. Hooray, it's done. We can talk about it. Hooray.
In one of our busiest episodes.
Yes. But this is our year-end spectacular.
Can you spread out Digimonukkah across the year somehow?
To be fair, look at how much shit I scan and break down over the year as it is. And I should
do this randomly. Call it like Digimonukkah Day 1
and
in March.
And the other thing to fairly mention is based on, like, for example, let's say I didn't have the time to put this together into a readable form, I had 2 or 3 other things that I could have thrown in, which are now like just being held, to spread out a bit so it does not just blow through everything in a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So
we have to have something to talk about in our January episode.
We should probably actually talk about this now that we've talked about us not doing it.
Right.
So the Tri Memorial book came out when Tri was done with all the artwork that we had seen in various magazines, along with some staff interviews and behind the scenes stuff.
That really cute comic.
Yeah.
With the characters pretending to be their voice actors.
Yes. And
it took me a while to figure out that that's what it was.
And one of the big things was Motonaga not only is interviewed, it's not even like a weird fake press interview. He actually discusses stuff. So, like, discussing how he thinks of Yggdrasil and homeostasis. Basically, him, using them as metaphors for the adult world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having those metaphors like locked in is really nice, and the connection and symbolism of all 3 of them together, combined with the chosen kids. That's what Tri. That's the genesis of the name Tri, isn't it?
Yeah, and that probably. Well, he's even pointed out Tri actually means a number of things in context, but getting like
that's the big one.
Yeah. And then we get confirmation that it was planned as a movie.
Mm-hmm.
But here's where it gets interesting. It was meant to be a quote-unquote fan movie. He does not explain what that means. The best me and Onke can figure out is that he basically means it's one of those nothing really happens. It's just a generically pleasing film.
It's just like a hey, cute anniversary thing.
Like
a lot of us expect the 20th to be kind of be.
Yeah. Now, but like he talks about how when they originally came to him, it was just one thing. It was going to be quick and easy, and by the time he's actually signs on to it, they have Uki Atsuya doing character designs, and because we only deal with him in Digimon, it's worth pointing out Uki Atsuya is a really good character designer. He directs stuff, he animates stuff by himself. He does a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So there was a full story by that point, and he said this a few times. His favorite thing is working on battle scenes, and he wants them to be there to be more of them. He wants them to be bigger, and he gets yelled at because of this. And it's kind of funny because that is like the most consistent thing that he has said, is that he loves to focus on battle scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But then he gives credit to other people, like the person in charge of some of the big conversation scenes was Matsumura. Mm-hmm. And he's credited as a ton of stuff for Tri. He explains, and when you watch Tri objectively, ignoring what you think of the plot or how characters are handled, he talks about how he watched the original show quite a bit to study it, and you can really see those details at times.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. He jokes that all the battle scenes were hard to do, but he admits merciful mode's hard to do because to a point you have the hero figure kind of doing something that everyone agrees is not the heroic thing. It just has to be done.
Mm-hmm. And that was what was mentioned before about how merciful mode was kind of envisioned as the beheader in the seppuku ritual.
Yeah, but
hardly a glory position.
But what's kind of interesting is he talks about it in a way that's kind of different than Watanabe.
Mm-hmm.
Watanabe talks about how he's not even necessarily sure merciful mode's position in it to a degree. While here, he even points out, Ordinamon lowers her head and she stops firing, and it's effectively Mekumon coming out to make sure that what was done was done. He
Mm-hmm.
brings up, I mean, this is something else I feel like we've heard, I think, from that screening where he did live commentary, where
Mm-hmm.
the scene at the end was almost meant to be like a child waving to their mother at school.
Yeah,
Uh,
that guy kind of
yeah.
got that impression.
He explains why Meikumon has to die, which is kind of interesting to hear. Like, the idea was that it simply was something was wrong, period. And that just
Yeah,
is the
like
end of it.
she's just
Yeah.
rough from the start.
He points out why he didn't want the series to necessarily have a happy ending, because to a point, it's not about them as children anymore. It's about
Mm-hmm.
them growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I love how many people. I love how many people were pissed off by that. Like they're trying to argue that 02 had a sad ending. Like no, 02 has freaking happy
yeah.
ending.
Zero Two
That is
has
an amazingly.
02 has
02 was one of the happiest
yes.
endings.
02 has sad elements before it
Yeah,
moves to the
yeah.
ending. The ending is literally that everything ended up well.
02 has an obnoxiously happy ending.
Yes.
I don't like it. Like Adventure's ending, like that's fine. Like that has a great ending. But
and
yeah,
then
no,
his
02 does not have an unhappy ending.
Then we get his explanation for wanting to stick in the reference to Yamato being an astronaut, but having to find a way to stick it in so it works because you can't just decide to be an astronaut.
Right. It's like, well, I'm just.
Yeah. Then, the explanation that they actually really did think about using the original cast a bit.
Yeah.
And they point out Yamato was the easiest person to cast and Taichi was the hardest, which makes sense.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that really makes sense. And we all figured this out from watching it, but like it is plotted as if it was a two-core series where you have to have the beginning here, the end here, and then it comes back, and then you have the end. And every director says this. There wasn't enough time allotted. I mean, almost every director says that. He points out, it had the point of view of the humans, which not shocking.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the amount of Digimon incorporation into the first half actually kind of surprised me. I'm like, hey, the Digimon are doing stuff.
The explanation
not so much in the second half, but the first half they were solid.
The explanation for the reboot's interesting because I get it. I'm not sure it was completely shown as much after the initial scene of it happening. You know what I mean?
Which scene was this again?
Where he's talking about the reason why he wanted to wipe their memories and then give them back.
Oh, right.
Where he wanted to show that, they became friends again, and then with the memories from before, it was basically like a new, stronger bond. Mm-hmm. Like, we do get the lines from each Digimon, but I'm not sure after that it was shown. I'm not sure it was necessary to show it, mind you.
No, that's the impression I got. I mean, the fact that they have to reconnect without the memories without the memories being used as kind of the crutch to, it's like they still have to make that connection. Like that's, I could tell that's what they were going for in part 4.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what, that's sort of one of the downsides of having to do this so quickly is not being able to flesh that out a little better and kind of having to focus all of that through Sora, where the others were all kind of pretty fast. Like giving more of a challenge to all of them, I think would have helped that along further.
I like him discussing Agumon's place in Tri. Like, pointing out that, yes, he's in charge of humorous moments, partially because it works with Agumon better than most characters. Like, you can do Agumon humor, you could do some of it with Tentomon, and they do. But you can't necessarily have Tailmon walking around doing that stuff. It just doesn't work. And they even goes over him talking to Mako in part 5 and how that was actually completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes over a lot of stuff, like down to Yamato talking to Gabumon. I like how he points out that, yes, him flashing back to the holding hand scene in part 1 was an important point that he was going to revisit at the end, and it just visually did not work at all.
Which I got that.
Yeah.
Like you can see why that wouldn't have quite worked out in that context.
Yeah.
Like that would have been a little too much.
Yeah.
Had they done that.
Yeah, and then he goes over different stuff for all the other characters. I think some of the stuff with Sora is interesting. I think generically we saw a lot of it.
Yeah, that's more or less what I had pictured.
Like Sora, we figured out. Takeru, I feel like we figured out completely. Like, I don't think there was any doubt or question there. I don't know if this is just all he said about Mimi or if it's just all that was there, because Mimi's feels like it was relatively obvious.
Right.
So there isn't much to say about Mimi.
Yeah, Mimi that was the one movie arc for her.
Going over Meiko and Meikumon, for me was interesting because it seems obvious even watching it why those characters exist.
Oh, of course.
Because that plot doesn't, like, if you throw Hikari and Tailmon into that plot, it just doesn't work from moment one because we already know them too much.
Yeah. I mean, this is obvious to us. I think there's a lot of other people who watch it and immediately dismissed Meiko because she's the new girl.
Yeah.
That need to read this and understand how writing works.
Those same people thought she was great when they were convinced it was going to be Ken and Miyako's daughter from the future. That was a thing.
Oh, I know that was a thing. I've brought that up before.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was convinced of that. And if they are, I have questions.
A lot of the Meiko and Tailmon yin-yang stuff we already knew, it feels like. I can't recall where we knew it, but I'm pretty sure we knew it.
We just got that sense. Just the cats, one of them is good, one of them is not so good.
Now, interestingly, the line from this that people seem to be caught on the most, and I feel like it's being misinterpreted, is that he leaving things like that would make Meiko a sad character. He doesn't mean that she would be sad. He means, more metaphorically, that the character only exists for sadness.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, she's not inherently a sad character. And when things are going well, she's actually quite happy and eager to, she's reserved, but she's not depressed constantly. One of the things about Meiko is you realize that by the time the situation has started up, she's had to live with Meikumon for so long that it's hard, and running into the Chosen all of a sudden, it's like, she just kind of knows this is going to turn into a disaster, and she has that hanging over her head the entire series.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things that's interesting, and of course we've discussed what he's talking about, which is the very, very, very end of Try, where we hear a very specific noise, and he even says he's not saying what it was. It's kind of up to each person. And you could even argue that that is a gift to future adventure writers, because nothing needs to be followed up on. She doesn't need to be used. It's one of those things that it's on the shelf if someone wants to use it.
Yeah.
And a few bits that were not from the interview. Taichi looking off at the sunset in part 1 was actually him looking at the airport where the fight took place.
Yeah, I thought that was neat.
Yeah. And while recording for the first movie, Hosoya was bothered by the microphone, and he kept eyeballing the staff, and eventually he just unplugged it and changed it on his own. Now, he doesn't say what this means because he would not know the quality of the microphone while listening to it. So I'm assuming it means like the microphone had a hit or something. I don't really know. I would like clarification of what that means, and I love the little Tentomon with the hat and sunglasses.
I feel like that the entire comic was based, it's just like, that was the inspiration for the whole comic. It's like, we should have Yamato doing that.
Yeah. And now we get to go on to, well, that's it for Try, but we have more to talk about. We maybe have 20th anniversary designs. So I guess so let's bring up the first thing and then let's move on. technically speaking, we do not know if these are real. It looks real
Right.
to me. There are some oddities, but I believe it's real. Do you believe it's real or not?
I'm leaning towards it's real.
Yeah. So, for the sake of discussion, we're not going to discuss further if it's real or fake. We're just going to discuss it as if it's real. But I will say this,
Mm-hmm.
if it is fake, whoever you are, artist person, fake person, contact me. I will commission you to do art for the site. If it is fake.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and assume it's real while we discuss. So let's go ahead and I believe there was something you wanted to start off with saying, which you've
Was
said a few
there?
places. Yes.
Oh, well, yeah, just that, we've talked about how the original art was pretty was probably going to be it looked really rough and
Yeah.
looked like something that was just sort of a quick early design that was going to be modified and shaped as the production continued, and here we are.
Yeah.
This is a lot different and a lot more polished.
I believe on Tumblr you were slightly more direct.
Well, yeah, because that's for the Tumblr crowd.
I
We know
believe
how they can get.
I believe you literally
Nobody's
posted.
on Tumblr anymore. Anyway,
I know.
So
I know. It was just funny because you literally posted the whole thing, and then just at the bottom, we told you so, and I just laughed my ass off when we saw it. So let's start with Yamato.
You have to trust us. We know what we're talking about.
So let's start with Yamato. His outfit's a bit different. The hair has been cleaned up. The hair color's significantly different.
Yes, yeah.
But by
to
and
be
large,
honest, I haven't actually looked at the old images and so.
Oh, okay, but by and large, it feels like the same design.
It's the same gist of it, just kind of evolving into something into clothes that he would actually wear.
Yes, and then let's talk about Sora, who we can only sort of partially see. It looks like an adult Sora. She's wearing a kimono, and it feels like it is a natural evolution of that character and where she's been and where we know she's going.
Yeah, I think that, being in a kimono phase at that age is interesting, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yes. Tai Chi has been tightened up significantly since the last time we saw him.
I like that they kept the star on the shirt, though, so we can all headcanon that that's a nod to Daigo.
Yeah, so the shirt design is mostly the same. They've changed the colors to make it much easier on the eyes. Yeah. The jacket is the shirt. I call it a jacket, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
that's roughly the same.
It's a jacket if you're in California.
Yeah, the hair has been tightened up. He's wearing what's clearly supposed to be his old headband, and even though the design's tweaked, I believe these are supposed to be his original goggles. Correct? It feels like they're meant to be.
I'd have to do some side-by-side comparisons. It's tough because the tri goggles were a little inconsistent. Yeah. Well, how they were portrayed throughout.
The original goggles in Adventure were much more rounded, but these are at least meant to evoke the original goggles. Let's go with that, shall we?
Okay.
They evoke them. They're maybe not the same goggles. The face has been tightened up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, people are really bothered by, like, the line in between his eyebrow and his eyes. I've heard multiple people comment on, like, his brow lines. For some reason, that's weirding people out.
I get what they're saying, but I mean, again, this is a pretty rough picture, so
yeah, I mean, it's rough artwork.
For all we know, that's not even going to show up in the actual scan tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it'll be
Friday morning.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we get. On top of that, of course, that based on the information we have, it's all 8 characters. And these appear to at least be the final designs by the character designer. That doesn't mean it's what's going to show up in the animation.
Mm-hmm.
But these appear to be
we're thinking sort of the standing full models of everybody.
Yes.
Which, when we got those not the original image, but a little after that.
Yeah. And there will be a lot more to say about this in the next episode.
Because I was going to say this weekend, because I know I can't do.
No, yeah.
I'll be ranting about this weekend, I'm sure.
I'm sure we both will on Twitter, and then in the next episode, we will have much more to
And
say
then in the
about
next
this.
episode, my opinions will change entirely.
Yes. Now, and
so get
now,
my initial hot takes this weekend and watch me backpedal for the podcast.
And donate to With the Will, and I will kidnap AR, and we will do an episode this Saturday.
I've always wanted to visit California.
But yeah, there's a lot to say here, but there's a lot we don't see. Like we can very clearly see someone to the left wearing what may be a suit.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Maybe. It's kind of hard to say. Like, it feels like it's a suit or something.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
But we don't really know.
Yeah.
We will have much more to say about this. Well, hopefully it's this, and not completely different artwork, but we don't technically know. For all
we know, it's watch Ukiyatsu is back.
And of course, okay, so here's the other question. Do you think the VR goggles are gone, or do you think it's something plot-specific, them showing up?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I didn't think about that. Yeah, I could see the VR goggles totally playing a part of it. Because I think that was something that had been mentioned earlier, is that they were going to potentially play with the mobile phone becoming more relevant to society and the digital world and stuff that Atmon kind of treaded already.
Did they, or was that us theorizing that they were going to do that?
Oh, maybe it was us theorizing.
I remember us talking about how, like, at this age, they're at the point where they're effectively in the modern world, but not fully formed adults yet. So it was kind of at a unique point. I think that may have been us theorizing rather than I don't remember, though, to be honest.
It could be. I mean, it's not a vibe. That's a little too early for that.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Koshiro's quite talented.
Koshiro has rewritten the timeline completely so that smartphones actually came out in 2006 in their world because of Koshiro.
It's still weird that it seems like this is going to be, I believe we dated it out to 2010?
2010 or 2011, yeah.
Somewhere around there. We'll see. There will be much more 20th anniversary stuff to discuss.
I'm not going to lie, I kind of forgot this was happening until this week. I was kind of enjoying my break. Like, I'm just going to chill out, work on the fanfic.
Well, that was the funny part is we discussed when the show would be. Because if we didn't do it here, I believe you could maybe fit in 2 hours. It was like next Saturday. And it was like, we have a lot of...
The 29th I was free all day.
So the thing was like, there's been a lot of stuff we kind of need to fit in. And this is right when V-Jump news will show up, if it's going to show up. And normally we would get to the bigger leaks before now, so who knows?
Right, we expected to be talking about whatever Survive update crap they'd throw at us.
And because I like all of you listeners, there's nothing Survive in V-Jump. I've been told that solidly enough that I'm reasonably sure that's true. So you're not getting anything for Survive. Hooray!
I don't know whether to be happy or sad. I just want the game to be, like, announced and out and stuff.
Look, here's what we'll do, AR. We'll buy you Disgaea 5 for PC, and we'll take off your glasses. That's Digimon Survive. Hooray!
I Disgaea. And it looks really cute. I would totally be up for that.
And now we shall do questions. We got some great questions in ahead of time. Yeah. So while we're answering these, hopefully, because last time I scrolled up and found them afterwards, hopefully AR will try to catch them, or I will try to catch them, and we will figure it out.
Okay. Except that my note page already had, like, my answer.
Okay. What we will probably do is you guys can think of questions while we're...
I'll figure it out. Post a question and I'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'll make it.
AR is in charge of this, so if there's a screw up, it's all his fault. So the first one was a follow-up to last time, which is why wouldn't we want the old Digimon shows on Blu-ray? This
is perfect because that's a you question.
Yeah, that's not quite what we meant. What we more meant was be aware what this stuff is if and when we get them. Because, for example, The Germans were not happy with Adventure on Blu-ray. Like, the fans completely flipped out on that because the company thought hey, high-end remastered Blu-rays, and they were like double the price of the DVDs, and composite video upscaled only looks so good. And that's just kind of the truth about it. If Digimon's on Blu-ray, and if the shows come out on Blu-ray, I'm buying it, AR's buying it, May's probably importing it. That's just what it is. But be aware what the stuff is, because that does matter. Because like we said last time, Adventure does not look great on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
O2 looks okay in the last few episodes, look kind of good. Tamers looks kind of good. I expect Frontier to look kind of good. Until Cross Wars, the shows will not look great on Blu-ray. It's just a fact of how they're made.
Right.
Yeah. The next one I will ask, but it's AR's to answer. Someone wants to know if we buy or bought the Tri-Fanzine, do you directly benefit from sales, or did you get financial involvement just from being involved, or are you financially involved? What is your money?
First off, I love this question because it means I can promote the zine again.
Yes.
So yeah, I wrote a zine for it'll be a link in the show notes. So I wrote a tri-fic for a tri-themed zine, lots of fan art and fan fiction in there. I wrote a story about Tri from the perspective of Joe's girlfriend. So I hope everyone checks that out. It runs, pre-orders are open until Christmas. Yeah. And it's only $10
now,
to get the zine. So.
Since I did go ahead and pre-order it, I get to be a pain in the ass as a paying customer.
Yes.
Is it really Joe's girlfriend, or is it Agumon with glasses on?
It is actually Joe's girlfriend. It is an actual girl.
Are you sure about this?
Yes.
So if I read this story,
okay, I suppose if you really want to, it's a metaphor for society in general.
Okay, I just have one question. If I read the story, there's not a twist at the end where someone walks in and the girl's not there. It is an actual character who exists from beginning to end, and it doesn't end up being a hologram or a ghost or Joe talking to himself. It is a real character.
Yes, it is an actual character. At the same time, the title of the story is Imaginary Girl. Now, to answer the question, so the way these zines work is basically it is the more sales, the more money I would make conceivably. So like a percentage of the profit would go to a chunk of it goes to the main organizers, the admins, the people who wrangle all the artists and writers together, the promoters, the people who put the actual book, the PDF together. So they get a percentage of that, and then the rest of it would be split evenly among the creators.
Okay.
So that's how that's distributed. So the more we sell, the more money I would get.
Okay. So everyone who worked on it directly benefits each time someone buys one.
Indeed. Also, if you are really concerned about making sure I make money off of this, I do have a so. You can just give me money. That's okay,
my favorite thing ever is that I'm 99% sure your audio cut out when you said that.
Oh.
Like, I believe it got the whole line, and then when you actually told them how to send you money, you cut out.
Oh, I'll say it again then. I have a coffee. Just send me money.
You've heard it here first. The reason he does this is for you to send him money.
It's true.
Yeah. Okay, the next question's great because we haven't actually talked about this question. Someone wants to know, are we friends? And the answer...
I'm actually curious about the answer to this.
The answer I came up with thinking about it is we are sort of like Penn and Teller. We have similar likes and we get along, but generically, we seem to only talk to each other either doing the show or in preparing for the show in some fashion.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
Like,
I was gonna say that we actually hate each other and we only do this to make money.
But yeah, it's the kind of case where like
I'm only here to promote my coffee, and really I can't
yeah,
stand Mark.
it's kind of the case where we're friendly, but we both sort of have separate lives. So here is where we do most of our interacting, or in the chat room, or in preparing for the show. Like it's hard to honestly say yes, we are friends, because we don't really talk to each other outside of this to a degree.
Yeah.
But that does sort of relate to the next question a little bit. It kind of gets to who we are. And these are two different questions, which we're doing one after the other, which were sent in by different people, which makes it hilarious to me, because they were sent in days apart. Someone wants to know, why are we mean, and why do we mock people if they have different opinions on Digimon, and why do we seem to get such joy out of it? And I feel like me and AR agree on this. We don't we mock the way certain
Wait,
groups.
the second question is, why do we get joy out of mocking people? Was that what?
Well, no, it was like a
That's not how I saw the question.
No. This is just the first one.
Okay.
Like why do we mock people of different opinions? We seem to like it, and so forth. We mock the way certain groups of people act, in that sometimes they're acting cartoonish. We're not mocking specific people, although it's come very, very close at times, including this episode.
Oh yes.
So what we mean by that is me and AR both really, really like Try, and we hold it in high regards. May does not. We don't.
May's just even on it, I'd say.
Yeah, but here's the thing: we don't really care that she has a different opinion.
Or I should say that May likes the first half and doesn't like the second half. That probably would be accurate.
It's not like the three of us argue with each other over Try. We will talk about it, but we don't necessarily care to try to convince the person, as long as we're talking about it. If you don't like Try, me and AR talk to you. We're not having fun at your expense.
Sure.
You have different views, and your view is as valid as ours. What we're mocking is when people jump in, like, say, and for a good example, multiple people have popped in going, they're showing the art of the 8 kids and not the 02 kids? What is this?
And it's like, we're back to this already.
Yes, and AR even called this before we got any images that it was going to happen. And the reason why we will mock that is we knew what this was. It doesn't mean it does not mean those kids are not going to show up. But the 8 kids are the thing. That is what it's about.
Yeah. Well, it's a series about adventure is about the 8 kids.
Yeah. You can practically guess, minus a surprise, who the first 16 characters we're going to see are.
Indeed.
Yeah. There can always be a surprise.
Although that said, Try when we're talking about the first characters we saw.
Yeah, but reveal wise, I
know what you're talking.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
I had to point that out.
Yeah, or like people are like, it's taken so long, and we're only seeing art now, and that's all we're seeing. It's almost like they've tricked us. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? They told us about the next Digimon story game a year ago, and we haven't seen shit from that. But basically, we're not mocking people. We're mocking the conventions. And here's the thing. We mock each other sometimes, and that's why we don't argue about it, because we know we're not actually making fun of each other. We're having fun with the way we act.
And I guess another point I would make is Digimon is a really stupid thing to have hate towards.
Yes.
Especially online.
Well, here's the thing. And that sort of goes into what the second question was.
Yeah. If I can, I'll just finish up with my point.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like, it's a really stupid thing to have hate towards. And especially your points before you made about anything towards creators or distributors. Like, one thing that, like with Try hate, people who comment on threads that, you know, the official channel is promoting, or, you know, manga or shout or trying to promote try or something, and people will comment about how awful it is. It's like, you're not helping.
No, it's not
You're
even
not
that.
helping
No, here's
in
the
the
thing.
least. And
Here,
not only that, but they're
you're
not
doing
reading
nothing.
it.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. They don't. They're not reading it. It is a social media intern who is posting stuff.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like, you're not only are you not helping, you're doing a disservice to the franchise for any other
Yeah.
might be reading those comments who are incidentally are not, like I said, not
and that goes to stuff that's come up before, and especially in the last week, is
right.
that we literally had, we'll just say a Japanese fan and leave it at that, who literally has apparently been harassing Bandai staff for a month, and then posting his emails and stuff on Twitter, and we skimmed through them with a rough translation.
Yeah, you showed me some of those.
And it's literally like, I've contacted Disney about this. And it's like, Disney doesn't care. This, like, it's kind of weird because
I'm way too obsessed with the show, and I don't care.
Yeah, it kind of comes to this, and this is kind of the way to put it. Mistakes happen. If you can't get over that, then you can't really move on, because there's nothing to move on to, because mistakes are pretty common. Yeah. It happens. If you can't get over it, please try to remember it's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. I mean,
it's and yeah,
and it's like me and
it's like, it's just, especially when it's towards actual part of the show itself, even like actors especially, is ridiculous.
Well, and this even goes back to the artwork.
Yeah.
And we almost forgot that, and that's like one of the few things we actually brought up together in private, which is, when we saw the artwork for Try, a bunch of people went to town on it, going, "This is fucking horrible. Why don't they get Adventures Artist back?"
Yeah.
And then we get Adventures Artist back, and we literally get complaining from the same people. Like, ignoring that we knew the art was early.
Yeah.
It's not his obligation to have the exact same artwork 20 years later. And that kind of came up with that Tamers box set he drew, where in the one shot, the kids were drawn differently. And RUKI seemed to upset a lot of people, and I don't know why.
But yeah, I guess my last point is, you know, I've been writing about Digimon for System Restore since 2011, and I've been watching the show and writing fanfic since 2001, and I can tell you straight up, being kind of an older fan, that everything in Digimon is various shades of mediocre.
Yeah.
So to really go after certain elements of it, especially stuff that objectively would rate on the higher end, like Try and Tamers, ultimately probably mediocre in the broad scheme of things as it is, it's just pretty silly.
Yes. And that's also, and this gets to the most hilarious thing, which it has happened. AR has seen it happen. Me and AR have been called gatekeepers.
Oh, yeah.
Like we're trying to keep people away from Digimon. If you like Digimon, you're welcome.
Yeah.
We're just saying,
Digimon has such a broad tent that
we're saying is, maybe try not to be an asshole. And to be fair, me and AR and May and everyone will always fail at this at some point.
Yeah.
Someone will always say something stupid. Generally, move on. Have fun. Now, the second question, which is the best thing ever, because that's why I've ordered them, was, why are we so positive about everything? Why are we? And the short, I mean, to a degree, we're older a bit, and we've gotten past being angry at everything.
Right. I was in college when the show started, and my initial impression of it was the show was terrible. So that's where I'm
Whoa, you're imploding. I heard none of that.
Oh. Yeah, what I was saying was, because I started watching the show, I was in college already when the show started, and my initial impression of the show was, this is terrible. and yet I'm still here. So that tells you something.
See, the show started when, and I've told this before, the show started for me when I was in high school, and I had no interest in watching it. I watched the first episode because they were having a commercial for the next Transformers show. That's literally why I tuned in the first place. And
Yeah.
but that's the thing. It is a cartoon.
Yeah, we're adults talking about a children's anime series and toy franchise.
Yes.
Heavy negativity toward it is just kind of pointless.
Like, even when you get to where it quote unquote is no longer a child's thing, which is try, it's still kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're here because it's fun. If at some point it's not fun, we're not going to be here. Because here's the thing. Let's say we get Agumon 2, Electric Boogaloo, and we both hate it.
That is not the worst. That is not the worst.
No, absolutely not. But let's say it shows up.
No, I'm saying I can think of worse names for Agumon 2.
No, I know. But let's say it shows up and we hate it. We'll talk about the news. We'll find topics we want to do, and then we will do it as long as it's enjoyable to do. It's sort of like, I do not like Savers. I simply don't. I'm not being mean to it. I just don't like it. You will not, unless there is a reason to bring it up, I won't be going, this fucking Savers, I hate it. I don't pop into Savers threads to rant about it unless there's a relevant reason to. I have better things to do with my time.
Yeah. And I've written, I mean, when you write an episode about every single episode of the franchise, it doesn't matter how crap it is, find things to take out of it and break down and appreciate. And at the same time, you will find things that annoy you to hell.
Yeah, and and that's the other thing is, especially with stuff you like, it's very easy to tear into if you want to.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do it here because it's not relevant, and I only bring it up for fun here. It's really fucking easy to tear into Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you want to get into the most popular topic regarding Digimon fans, which is what counts. You can watch an episode of Star Trek, and the next episode something can be entirely different. And, oh well. To watch the show, it's something to accept and move on. There's not much else to do. It's fun. It's just not worth our time to rant about it because we have other stuff we enjoy. AR has a son.
Yes.
There's better stuff for him. Like, I assume if he did not like doing the show, he wouldn't do it because he's not a huge news person. It's just not his thing.
No, and I'm primarily centered around discussing, the anime and increasingly the games.
Yeah.
Mostly because of the story elements.
Yeah. Like, for example,
I'm a writer.
Like generically, you don't give a shit about figures.
Not terribly.
It's not your thing, but it's sometimes fun to discuss it with me. And
it's also nice to have kind of a newbie perspective on that to point out, hey, what's going on here.
It's fun to discuss, and like Jonathan mentioned, he's not a fan of Agumon, but I haven't seen Jonathan in the past go off on tears about it like some people have. It's okay not to like something. Like, for example, all joking aside, neither me or AR like movie 3.
Yeah.
I mean, we joke about it. It's just, and we joke that sometimes we don't know what to think about movie 4.
I'm pretty set on my beliefs on
movie 4 has things I like, but overall it is not very good.
I maintain that I expect my opinion of the 20th project to be very similar to my opinion from the vibe I'm getting right now.
It's hard to tell because really we have some artwork and we see some older stuff on it, and my primary concern, honestly, isn't this oddly what Motonaga said that they had originally talked to him about?
A little bit. And that's what I mean. It's like what he was talking about by a fan film. That's what I imagine movie 4 is what he's talking about.
And that even sort of gets into odd stuff like, for example, Try does feel like, whether it's adventure or not, something new. Like we see Adventure and we see Zero 2. Those are two separate things.
Yeah.
Try is also a separate thing. I
And,
do not
that's...
I do not know that the 20th anniversary movie is going to be a separate thing.
You think it might be more adventure?
Well, I mean in the sense of like our war game is a movie. It does not take place in the course of Adventure.
Yeah.
But we all sort of go, it's
adventure.
The movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if that's what the 20th anniversary film is going to be. And that does give me some pause because I like it to be kind of weird and different.
Well, and that's the thing is Digimon is constantly changing itself. Yes. Like it never goes back to the same formula. And I'm kind of the same way. Is that's my one trepidation about this project is that it might go back to the same formula, which is a little disappointing after Try.
Here's the thing. It was a tease at the end of Try. I do not want to fucking see them jump into the internet and fight Diablomon again.
No.
Now, to be fair, there are ways to do that will be great, but off the top of my head, I don't want that to happen again. They've done it twice.
At the same time, I would totally be down for them fighting Daemon again.
But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing why I don't want them to. That is really a story that it feels like it needs to not be those 8.
Yeah, that's true.
That is a story that I want to be focused on the O2 kids.
That's true. But again, that's speculation. And...
Yeah, but that's also getting into just the way we are as fans, and that we're not attacking people to a degree. I understand why people think we do, and why we all act so. And like it's kind of being joked about in the chat room. What, another Omegamon? You jest with me, sir. But it's like they did. Like anytime they do a poll. Fans have shown they want Omegamon, period.
Yeah.
And it comes up with like, well, why don't they do more Tamers? Because all the arguments aside, they are not our friends. They will give us anything they think they can make money off of. And if you look at the sales numbers of the discs, and you even look at products they've released, Adventure is king, and that is to the detriment of the other arms of the franchise that people may want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying I disagree. Like I understand that
brand about that, but
brand-wise it makes sense.
That's just the reality.
Yes. Like for example,
I wish Tamers was more popular. I don't necessarily wish for another series because I just like the way it ended. But
Tamers ends in a very special and interesting place where anything can happen next. And I think the instant you really, really say, no, nothing kind of happened for years, which is kind of what the audio drama did, it kind of feels dishonest to the ending of the show. I mean, that's my... Like, I think the problem is, I think people want to see the characters again. They don't necessarily want to see them put through the ringer again. But that's kind of what the show is.
I think that's why a lot of people were kind of disheartened by Try as well, is that they wanted to see the characters again, but they didn't necessarily that angst that came with it.
But you have to.
Like, that's all season 1 is these characters suffering for 54 episodes.
And then they suffer a ton at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's... And I say it jokingly, unless you are going to do slice of life Mimi at school, there is no other way to do it. You have to put them...
Right. And that slice of life has... Like, the one time they tried to do more slice of lifey stuff, it was Hunters, and everyone hated it.
Yes. I think we can move on to the next important question, which is why Digimonukkah?
Yes, this is way more important than anything we've discussed before.
Because Jewish, and 2 years ago I had 8 or 9 things to do, and that was the best way I could think of to burn them off all at the same time.
My joke was going to be, it's easier than 8 is easier than doing 12 days of Christmas.
but yes, I believe what it was that 2 years ago, just a stack of stuff, because multiple Atmon CDs were showing up at the same time. We were getting ready to launch the gallery, and it's like, how, like, I don't want to just throw them out. What can I do with counting 1, 2? It's like, oh, there's
You got eight.
eight
Sure.
things and
Boom.
the gallery.
Boom.
Boom. And I believe DevQ was actually the one who made the menorah we used.
Oh,
So I believe, yeah, I believe she's the one who found the artwork and put it together and everything.
that's cute.
And then we have a question from our good friend Nico, who wants to know what would we change about Try now that it's over and it's had time to settle in our brain. And man, we have had good questions.
Yeah.
I think the most obvious for me, I would have liked to see some richer fight scenes overall.
Yeah.
We got the fight scenes he could give us, and
yeah, it is sort of funny that Motonaga was focused. He's so focused on fight scenes when it's like the fight scenes in Try were okay.
But I think that's why he focused on them. I don't think they had the money to really do them,
Yeah.
so he decided to spend his time on them so he could make them better.
Yeah,
because
make them as good as they could, as good as they could do with the
because
because
oddly, and I really need to track down where I said it back when they first announced him as the director. I said he's a guy who gets stuff done with low budgets and in schedule, because that is literally one of the things he's known for. Is he gets stuff done, and he's able to work around the sometimes horrible budgets they get.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other one is I understand people's complaints about certain things not being explained, but generically, it was all explained, just sometimes not in the best way. The one thing that they probably could have explained more clearly, especially since they were aware this was a more international audience, was more clearly explaining that, yes, the Adventure Kids are worried about the O2 kids.
Yeah.
Because it felt like that flew over people's heads that was like that discussion happens.
That's one thing the dub kind of did a little better with.
Yes.
Like the dub did a little bit more, especially in the last movie.
Yeah.
Like you could tell listening to everybody, listening to Ty, Matt, and Izzy, it's like, okay, yeah, they were worried.
Yeah. But it's one of those things where it does come up in the Japanese. It just comes up in a very, very Japanese way that I think flew over 90% of the audience's head.
Mm-hmm.
The one time I will say that I think they dropped the ball on it was in dealing with Imperial Dramon.
Yeah, that one sort of was weird.
Plot-wise, I feel like what they did was they went, Ken! And that was really supposed to be Ken, Vmon, and Wormmon. And they just didn't spend the time to say it. You know what I mean?
Like, I interpreted it as Ken, and then it was just a summon the way but the Mysterious Man kept doing throughout. But yeah, it's like you have to, the context of that really does depend a lot on you have to pay so close attention to everyone's reactions and expressions and the various tones that they use. It's so hard to figure out.
Yeah.
So that's fair.
Yeah.
My suggestion is basically the same as it's always been, is just make it longer. I think that they really could have done more with an extra movie or two. Just take some time to let some of these situations breathe, as you said. Give some of the background details. That I
think the issue there was, I believe, and technically speaking, we don't know this, I believe they had a 6-beat plot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I don't think there was, minus splitting the last one, I don't think they necessarily had the beats to pull apart to make that fit.
I think you could have added an extra beat in actually movie 4. I think, as weird as that sounds,
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah, I think enough happens in movie 4. And a lot of it feels kind of rushed and so focused on one situation that feels it's so hard to explain why it's Sora and Piyomon in particular that are suffering the most with this, that having a little more with everybody would have kind of helped with that. But that's one example.
Yeah.
But just even the ability that would also give you the ability to kind of lean into the 02 disappearance a little more in the first half. Because I think with the 02 kids missing, that's a flaw in the first half more than the second half.
Yeah, but
and I don't think we quite realize that until we get the whole picture.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I completely agree on that 4 needed to be more, but I get what you mean.
Well, I mean, F4 as it exists now didn't need to be more, but I
No.
think you could have added more to it to make it two movies that were felt substantial.
I think, and this goes back to before you were on the podcast. I think 4 at times is the most interesting to discuss because there's a lot of subtext, more so than
the entire second half was subtext.
Yeah. I still think the nicest message I ever got had to do with 4. Was someone listened to me and Victor talk about it for it was like 2 hours, and it was a tweet or an email, I don't remember. It was basically, your conversation about Sora made me appreciate her more. She's a character I never liked. I still don't like her, but I think I understand her now. Mm-hmm. It's like, wow, that's a nice message.
Well, that's the thing about movie 4 is like, for all the issues the Sora Piyomon thing had, I did really like that they gave that to Sora.
Yeah.
Because that's something I felt was sorely missing.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons.
Exactly. And now we're moving on to the questions that, in theory, you've been collecting the whole time in secret, correct?
I got 4. So if anyone had missed one, then I apologize. But one of them was, when do you think they will release another premium card set again, if ever?
By premium, I assume that they mean the old Bandai card game.
That's what my assumption is too. Yeah.
Next, I'd say in the next 6 months, I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay.
Because it feels like that for all the 20th anniversary stuff, they've been really focused on throwing out V-Pets and some other stuff. I think, especially since, we'll have new designs for Adventure. It won't necessarily be the set a lot of people want, which is, I mean, we had 2 of them in the last half year?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they haven't come out. It's just a matter of what will it be. It feels like it would probably be Adventure 4 or some type of Adventure anniversary set.
Yeah.
Like new art of the original.
Or both potentially.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
Next one, I'll answer this one if you didn't want to. Did you put Digimon ornaments on your Christmas tree?
I don't have a Christmas tree, so the answer is yes, I did.
So, I didn't, but I thought about it. And now that I think about it further, the fact that we didn't really do much decorating of our tree because we have 2 cats, makes me think that adding the plushies would actually be fun, and I might do that.
Go hang up a plushie.
Well, I have so many plushies that...
Hang up all the plushies, and then find a little Starmon, put him on top, and then take a photo.
I wish I had a Starmon plush. Now I have to figure out which plushie needs to go on top. It's probably going to be Gatchmon.
See, here's the problem. Everyone's made that fucking joke. They made it last year and the year before, I believe, which was, and then there's the angel on top of the tree. That joke's been made. You're not allowed to make it anymore.
Yeah.
What's next?
Next up is, what do you think they will reveal after the 8 kids Digimon?
After
we get the 8, we get the Digimon. What would come after that? I don't know whether this means art specifically or if it'll be like a trailer or a...
I'm going to assume they're talking about artwork.
Yeah.
I would assume it will be whatever the quote-unquote new focus character is. Maybe, is it a new kid? Maybe, is it a villain? Maybe. Is it Omegamon wearing a top hat? Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, if it will be whatever the next relevant character is. It could very well be the O2 kids who might just walk by the screen and never be seen again for all we know. And I don't mean that in a mean way, but I'm not expecting a focus on them. I would like them to show up with nice new designs. Yeah. I'm not necessarily expecting them to walk off screen and someone to go, "Where'd Daisuke go? Daisuke's not here. We need to find him." But I would like to see...
Sounds like Poochie.
Yes. I must go now. My planet needs me. I would like to see those
That's
kids.
where Daisuke went.
I would like to see those kids. I would like to see their Digimon. I do not expect them to be a rich feature of whatever the hell this ends up being called. We keep kind of jumping between Adventure 4 and Adventure
Yeah, we need
20th.
it needs
But
a
yeah,
name.
I have no expectation that they are going to be a huge important part of it.
I'm just keeping my mind clear on that and whatever. Like, I'd like them to appear. I really have no idea what I plan to do with them.
Look.
Like, it honestly, like, my writer sense says that they probably just again stick with the 8 and, like you said, give the 4 like some sort of cameo at the same time.
Yeah.
You never know, and it's like it just might be a situation where it's like, yeah, we do want to give the O2 kids a little bit of love.
But what I mean is like before we got that one image, which I've had for a bit. Because I was hoping a better image. I literally went to bed last night expecting like the whole thing to show up before while I was asleep, and then I wouldn't have to decide if I was going to post it or not after a day or two of having it. It didn't occur to me that Taichi would have his normal goggles, or that Sora would be walking around in a kimono. We've barely seen anything, and our expectations are already out the window.
Like, I mean, I guess the kimono's a bit of a surprise. I'm not surprised they redesigned the goggles
Well,
back
no,
to
but
an older form.
But I mean, like, we saw 2 different things of the new VR goggles. I didn't expect to just see the old style goggles just out of nowhere. Like, I thought maybe they'd be at the beginning and then they'd chuck them or whatever. I didn't. Sort of like we didn't really know the O2 kids were going to show up and try at all.
Right.
There was nothing told to us, and regardless of if you like how it was handled, they are one of the first things we see in it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
About you said that the first 16 characters we know who they were. And
But that's what I mean. Like, none of us were really mentally prepared for that to happen. Yeah. It was a neat thing to see.
It was really cool.
Yes. I mean, they were just getting stomped on, but it was nice that they were there. Okay. Go to the next one while they think up more questions and before we call.
I did have another one on top of that, so we have 5 now. Is who would be your main in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate?
Honestly, I've been enjoying playing as Kirby.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't have a Switch, so I haven't played Ultimate yet, but I plan to this. Well, go. You can answer first.
I can move around to most characters pretty easily. I mean, I haven't played Ultimate as much as 4 just because I've been busy, but like I played 4 online against friends a lot, and most of them, including Justin, who's there, would remember I could swap characters basically round to round and still be playing exactly the same. It was just most characters I could swap between very easily and be reasonably good at most of them.
And Kirby is fun to play.
Yeah, Kirby's fun to play, and it's just who doesn't like Kirby? If someone doesn't like Kirby, they're not trustworthy.
Indeed. So I don't have a Switch, so I'm not going to own Ultimate in the foreseeable future. But I'm going to a party this, and I did want to mention that because this is like the best party. This is the best Christmas party ever because my friend gets this big lineup of random Christmas specials and stuff. And he finds the most obscure stuff and takes recommendations and puts them in. In fact, he did ask me to bring my 02 DVDs in case he's inclined to play a very Digi Christmas. I guess to answer the question, the one I usually make, I'm actually pretty good with Ness. I tried it out at a tournament once and actually finished second against some pretty good players. So I guess Ness is my usual answer. I don't know how he plays in Ultimate though.
I don't think I've played as him in Ultimate yet. Didn't even think about that. Yeah, I still like the stage around him. It has the cars driving by and everything. Those are fun.
Oh, on it, yeah. I'm glad they're bringing that one back. That was always one of my favorite, Earthbound themed stage. Like, I didn't really get like Magic Hand and those as much.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, we did want to come up with one quick we can answer quickly is, do you think the O2 kids need ultimate forms? My answer to that is no. And I actually read a really good article
Yeah,
pretty recently about, I think
oddly,
Brianna posted an article just last week about why they shouldn't
I
have.
believe I read that earlier today, and then went, yeah, I'm gonna post about this, and then I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does very good analysis from different perspectives that lines up relatively well.
Mm-hmm.
But I understand why
Read
people
that
want them, but that's
yeah.
kind of the unique thing about it is that they had the weird combination forms.
Yeah, and it goes back to, evolution corollary, which is one of my recurring theories in on System Restore, that each season kind of the main evolution gimmick relates to a particular theme of the series, and Zero Two's big theme is how you relate to your friends, which is different from all of the with other series like Adventure, which is how you relate to yourself, or Tamers, how you relate to your Digimon partner.
Hey, you forgot
Zero
that.
Two is
No,
about
no,
hmm?
that's not the important one for Tamers. In Tamers, the important one is what cards do you have in your collection?
Yeah, that too. But yeah, Zero Two is so tied to friendship, and that's such a key theme in Zero Two that I do like having that Jagras be the primary
Yeah.
evolution
I,
theme there.
I feel like with Zero 2, if they revisit it, they'll just turn into the same Digimon, more or less.
Yeah,
like
probably.
those are associated with them, even if some of them don't make as much sense as they used to if you remove the Jagras.
Yeah. And also if you tried to give them ultimate and even individual perfect forms, then you do have to kind of bend universe rules to figure out how to do that, which they can do, but constantly tweaking the rules like that is part of the reason Zero Two gets criticized so much in the first place.
I mean, every series kind of does that, though, to be honest.
It
Every,
does,
every,
but
every
Adventure's world is getting so stacked now that
I know,
it's
but
just getting tiresome.
every series, and you kind of allude to this. Every series has its rules, and the rules change whenever the show needs to do anything. Like in
Mm-hmm.
Tamers, when he gets a new form because he had a water gun.
Yeah.
And yet, yes, it was a metaphor, but it still basically broke down.
That was voted the most popular episode of Tamers. Let's not forget.
Yeah, not only the most popular episode of Tamers, written by the guy in charge of writing for O2.
Yeah.
So even in Tamers, O2 is very popular. Send AR the hate mail, not me, please. But yeah,
Yeah.
so empty questions, or did anyone throw any more up?
I didn't see any other questions.
We will
I,
give them one more chance to, and then we will call it. It has been a very, very fun year talking about Digimon. Scheduling with May has been a bit hard. We hope to fix that next year. Oh,
we
and
hope to fix that. Like, I don't know how exactly we fix that next year. Time zones are
it,
what
it
they are. And
it's something nice to say. Okay, okay,
tectonics aren't
okay,
going to kick in quick
yeah,
enough.
okay. The easier way to put it is we do our best. She does her best. Let's hope she gets injured less next year.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because there were a few times this year where I believe she missed because she got injured.
Lots of love and health from May.
Yeah. And May will soon be off to Japan, like we said, and hopefully she has. We need to make sure she gets those glasses that have a video recorder built in, so she can record the escape room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just walk in with a Google Glass. No one will care.
Yeah, but we will definitely have more to talk about early next year because there's no way in hell we're actually going to try. I mean, I made the joke, but just to confirm it was a joke, we are not
We
going
need
to.
a lot of news to drop even, and getting the art isn't. That's not going to do it.
Yeah, let me put it this way. If at Jump Festa they throw out a trailer or something, yes, we may try to throw something together. If it's just that we get to see that Koshiro has a new haircut, we're not.
Yeah, before we try to figure out if we cut it for this.
On the plus side, even though you're breaking up now, you did not break up most of the time during the episode. And Shaik wants to know, do we think there is Rear-Rise content this month in V-Jump? Probably. I mean, I'm reasonably sure from what I know there is no Survive. I assume there's something for Rear-Rise, but who knows? Been a good year for Digimon. Hopefully 2019 is even better. I guess the question past that is, how was the year for Digimon for you, AR?
What was that?
How was Digimon for you this year overall?
Oh, the year is okay. I mean, it just the fact. I mean, it kind of stopped once Hacker's Memory and Try came out for me. So, yeah. But I didn't mind.
Man, you're really breaking up.
Yeah, I noticed that you were breaking up on my end too.
Oddly, you seem to be much better right now.
Yeah, I think it was just a brief thing.
So, it's a good year. Let's and we said it last time. Let's hope we get something that TV wise.
Yeah.
And oddly, we still technically don't know if this is one movie, multiple movies, or what the hell's going on.
Mm-hmm.
All we know is that apparently this time it's a quote-unquote real movie, since to a degree, Try wasn't really
OAVs.
movies. I mean, even their internal catalog says they're OVAs.
Mm-hmm.
And God, man, there's just we need more stuff there. Does it seem weird that we're getting a sequel to Chronicle? Like we forgot that entirely, and we talked about it earlier.
Yeah, the reemergence of the X antibody thing.
Well, here's the thing. My theory on why that's happening is because it doesn't necessarily touch anything else.
Yeah, it could be.
Like, minus Alphamon or the occasional X Digimon showing up, it doesn't really have anything to do with anything. It's on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's about it. I don't think we got any more questions.
Nope, I didn't see any more.
Yeah, so buy the zine he worked on, everyone.
Yep, buy the zine.
Even I'll admit I'm still not happy about the format, though. This is. Yeah.
Well, you can take that up with the admins who are taking.
I already did. I sent a polite email. The response was that they weren't considering it at this time, so I will do the obvious thing, which is convert it myself. Because
I'll also throw out that if anyone is reading my main fan fiction, Nexus World, it is starting up again on January 11th. So
yeah, and around then might be around when we do a podcast episode. Possibly. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I believe May will still be in Japan at that point, so she may not be back for the next episode. I think she's gone to like the 12th or something.
Okay. Well, I can't do the 12th anyway, so yeah. I actually have my holiday
off. Well, to be fair, I don't expect her to get back to Australia and go, man, I need to hop on the podcast.
At 7 a.m., yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you want to be doing.
Yeah, when she's on a completely different time zone mentally, jet lagged, having run around for weeks, having fun, that's what she wants, to talk to us.
May never want to talk to us ever again.
Hey, for all we know, that's why she doesn't show up for the episodes.
I'd rather pay for a plane ticket. I'd rather pay for a trip to Japan than talk with these two idiots.
Yes. She's trying to escape us, which she could just claim she's injured again. I mean, she seems.
No, I don't know. May's pretty good about chronicling her injuries on Facebook, so I'd catch that.
True. But yeah, so you guys, you know, I tend to more post from With the Will on Twitter than my actual account. Some people like
And
it, some people don't.
I usually post on my main Digimon Twitter than my other regular account.
Yeah. You can find us both in the With the Will Discord, where we will happily discuss, argue, or so forth almost anything with you regarding Digimon.
Unless you're annoying, and then I just don't talk at all.
Yeah, we both kind of do. We both kind of do that.
The nice thing about Discord is I can just ignore conversations.
Yeah, with Discord, if something gets annoying, you can sort of just go watch an episode of a TV show or do something, pop back, and hey, it's a different conversation. Hooray!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, there's two general channels. If you don't like one, just see what they're talking about in the other one.
My favorite thing is invariably when someone shows up, what's General 2 for? They will pop.
Oh, yeah.
They invariably want to know why there are two general channels, and no one ever gives a solid answer. It's always like, well, it's basically for if there's, want to talk about something else. And like it's never like a really solid answer, but it's always understood instantly.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's Discord Inside Baseball. Yeah. Join the Discord to figure out what we're all talking about.
And remember, join the With the Will Patreon, and soon I will be forced to do those lead-up articles over and over again through the end of time. And
give to my coffee.
Yeah.
Because I haven't mentioned it enough times.
Isn't it pronounced Kofi?
It's one of the two. The site is Kofi, but you're buying a coffee. Yeah. That's the idea.
Well, let's be fair. I can't really say stuff like that because my pronunciation is fucking awful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
There's almost no word that I'm not 100% sure of that I won't just change the pronunciation in the middle of a paragraph even.
Someone was actually making corrections on the chat.
Yeah, I know. I was ignoring them.
Me too.
Don't worry, Corey. We're joking. We love having you here, but it's a little true. We're not gonna stop the show to go back 40 seconds for a pronunciation correction for something that I've been mispronouncing for 20 years, and don't really plan to change. In my case,
see, I was just going to acknowledge it. I wasn't going to make
because I gave the commentary because he's not wrong. So he does at least deserve an explanation why it seemed like we're ignoring him. Because, for example, I've been calling it Paledramon for 20 years.
Yeah, that's one where I still go off of the dub because.
Yeah,
and I still go with Diaboromon rather than Diablomon.
Well, in that case, I flip back and forth based on what we're talking about. So I call it Diablomon.
I do that a lot.
Yeah. And oddly, we seem to be some of the few people who actually seem to be able to flip back and forth that quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It
was actually... Yeah. I bought merch. I was going to... At the start of the show, in our opening banter, I was going to talk about the merch I bought, and one of the things I was mentioning the walking Tailmon thing, and then I also bought a poster with Gatomon on it because it was dub-oriented. And I was about to say those in the same sentence.
Yeah, I don't remember who, but someone actually said that confused the hell out of them. That there are times when we would be talking about both versions of the show, and in the same paragraph, we might use different names.
That's actually a funny thing that happened at the convention. Was one of the artists was selling tags and crests and actually used the Japanese names for the crests.
Oh, that must have confused the hell out of people. That must have confused
somebody. Because people constantly come up to me and ask me Digimon questions at conventions. That was the one that someone asked me. It's like, why is Joe's crest called Faith? And I'm like, okay,
this
is gonna take a while.
It's the crest of a vague gray color. That it's they make in this. It's the crest of vague gray, and that
it's
sometimes
the crest of Joe,
which some people have decided is blue. I guess
it's the crest of Joe.
Yes, there's the crest of Joe, the crest of Mimi. I mean, they can't even decide how to spell Joe at this point.
Yeah, that's one. Whenever I get asked whenever I get asked why I write System Restore off of the dub, I go because the sub can't just. The sub can't come to a consensus. The subs can't come to a consensus on any terms. Like, I'll write the sub when we all come to a consensus on how to spell Joe's name and what to call Joe's crest.
We're nearing the end, you guys, so don't worry, we are mostly tying up, but on that, they actually seem to have been consistent for like the last year and a half. They are
For Joe's
spelling
name, yes.
JOE is what they are going with in Japan
Yeah,
now, it seems to be.
JOE. I'm going with JOE as being the spelling of
Yeah.
Joe's name.
Yeah, I use JOE when I'm talking about English Joe. When I'm talking about Japanese Joe, I go with JOW. Wait, JOU. I
That's
got caught
fair.
up. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how I've been spelling it that way for 20 years. Because I was one of the wackadoodles chatting about this crap in 1999. Uh, um, there's so much weird shit we could have ranted about in this episode if we want to.
Ian pointed out the spelling of Koshiro. They've been pretty good about Koshiro.
What's weird was
just KOSHIRO.
What's weird was I think when they started Try, they did use the U, and then they got rid of the U after part 1.
The U, and I still use one U.
So do I.
Yeah.
Because
which I'm pretty sure is entirely wrong.
It's entirely wrong, but it's good enough.
It looks better to me. It's more aesthetically pleasing.
Good. Now they're saying Jow.
This is going to turn into a G.I. Joe episode pretty soon.
Hey, knowing's half the battle.
Knowing's half the battle. I was
going
to wait until you said something and then use that. But
do you know what the other half is?
Oh God! I forgot. I know what you're gonna go. I forgot what the punchline was for that.
Shutting the fuck up.
Go.
And with that, I think we are done. We will see you guys next year unless the most fantabulous news shows up, or we just get really bored and decide we can bust one out in an hour.
The entire movie itself will be encoded into the magazine pages.
No, here's the worst part. If it is just one normal movie, this episode might be as long as 2 of them.
Yeah, probably. We're getting
but it was also the end of the year spectacular.
It's a good thing I don't work tomorrow.
No,
I cashed in the last of my vacation days, Thursday and Friday.
Yeah,
so I can wake up and analyze the new pictures.
Yeah, so we will catch you guys next time. We will be back. And there's 1 or 2 surprises left to come that are not necessarily podcast related that should be ready next time. So, anything else to say?
No. If we keep talking, we're going to be going into the next episode.
Welcome to the podcast. We will catch you guys next time. Thanks everyone for listening.
Bye.
Bye. See you next time, everyone. Bye.